What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV. Tottenham 3, AZ Alkmaar 1. Tottenham are through to the quarter-finals of the Europa League. Face up a tie with Eintracht Frankfurt, who absolutely obliterated Ajax in the last 16. It will be a very tough game, and we'll get into that in a minute. But today is a day that belongs to Tottenham, because I thought for the first hour, particularly, Spurs were brilliant today. Didn't give AZ Alkmaar really a chance. Mickey van der Ven and Cuti Romero controlling things from the base. Lucas Bergvall controlling things in the middle, and Sonny and Odegaard out on the wings, causing all sorts of problems. I thought, you saw the lineup today, didn't you? And we both said this is probably our strongest 11.
Definitely.
And they played like it.
Yeah, definitely. 100%. I think that's the strongest 11 that we've got right now. And they played with what we wanted for at least an hour, which was the intensity, the drive. There was still moments, but as an overall, for that at least 60, 65 minutes, they played pretty well. And I think it just started to fall apart a little bit when Van der Ven came off, and it was quite evident to see when the other players came on. We looked a bit more nervous, making more mistakes, and we did make a mistake, unfortunately. And I think that one with what's his name, Bergvall, making that pass. I think
Odegaard, yeah.
If that was Van der Ven in the phase before that, where Archie Gray was there, I think he would have got that ball because of his pace and how he is. But look, let's not take away from what we got today, which was a lot more of an enjoyable performance, I think. I mean, when was the last time we sat here and actually enjoyed moments of the game with Spurs?
Yeah, and it was a game, it was the first game I've actually enjoyed watching, probably since that Liverpool game.
Yeah.
When we beat them at home in the first leg in the semi-final. And is it a surprise that, you get your starting centre-backs back and, players are back and you actually start enjoying the game again? So, look, I think it would have been embarrassing if we were to go out today, no doubt about it. But I was happy with the way, because the intensity was right from the very beginning, which we can't say a lot about previous games.
No.
The aggression was right, the intensity was right. We were bang up for it from minute one today. And it took a while for us to get into our rhythm of actually creating chances.
Yeah, it did.
But some of the goals that we scored today, that third goal that we scored, the way that Maddison just kind of let the ball glide past him, and he drove into the centre of the park, got it out wide to Sonny, got it into the to Odegaard, then to Sonny, then get it into Solanke, and with a little black flick into Odegaard, and he put it in the back of the net.
It was a great team goal. It's just the one, I think that, it was a really good team goal. And I think again, even Maddison's goal as well was a great goal. That was a great team goal. There was from a press again, and I think that was more what we want to see more of that kind of. And I think both of them were on the counter as well, to be honest. So this is why it's quite funny that the goals that we score seem to be when we are countering, which is like when we seem to play our best football. And it's like everything just kind of flows together. But I can't complain with it. I think it's definitely the best performance we've seen in a while. And look, it's just, I'm glad we got the win. They needed it. And for me, it was the senior players that stepped up tonight. That was the biggest thing, which is what we were saying before the game.
100%.
We needed the Maddisons, the Sons, and these type of players to step up. But it was nice to see Odegaard step up as well. First start on the right wing. I think he's got a really good mention for today as well, because I think what I saw with Odegaard is that there's a lot of moments where he's quite lively. He drives. There's that one moment where he went past 3 players through the middle. And he came up with the goals today as well. And goal on his left foot, goal on his right foot, and well taken. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do on the right wing as well.
That first goal that he scored was
a really good goal.
Brilliant finish as well.
Really good finish.
All comes from Son Heung-min with his pressing out on that left-hand side. He plays it into Solanke. Solanke getting himself 2 assists today, and a brilliant weight of pass into Odegaard. And I thought Odegaard was really dangerous out on that right-hand side.
I liked him
a lot. There was one moment in the middle of the park where he just burst through, hitting 2 or 3 men. And it's like, when you compare him to someone like Brennan Johnson, right? I think Odegaard showed more when he was on the pitch today in terms of general threat from open play than pretty much Brennan Johnson has all season.
100%. Brennan Johnson, for me, he's one of these players that in a moment he can produce something, but usually it's not anything amazing or anything out of the blue. It's like tap-ins or things like this, and then the rest of the game he's just coasting. It's like you don't even notice he's playing. Literally, you don't. Even when he came on the pitch, it kind of felt like he wasn't really doing much. It was like, again, it kind of felt like you're playing with one man less on your team, and it's frustrating to watch. It really is frustrating. And I've always said this from the day one, that he hasn't got a football brain. He really doesn't. Apart from the fact that he can get into the right positions, but I kind of think that that's just because of the style of the system, and that kind of maybe the way Ange wants him to play is kind of like that. But I think he just you look at him, and when he puts a cross into the box, it's like he's playing FIFA or something in his head, and it's like low cross all the time, low pass, like, you know, that XXX or whatever it is, or that triple pass thing, and it's like low along the floor, and it never gets anywhere, and it's like 1 in 10 it gets somewhere, and it's frustrating. But yeah,
I do think that's a little unfair on Brennan, to be honest. I do think you need a pretty good football IQ to get in those positions consistently as he does. So I think you've got to be fair to Brennan in terms of the amount of times he gets into those areas. But Odebear, just from an open play, just from hurting the opposition consistently, I just think he's far better for the system in terms of his one-on-one dribbling. He can actually take on a man.
He's definitely, that's what I like as well, that he can take on a man, and that's a key for any player you want to see at Tottenham. You want to see players that take on their man and are not scared to do it. Brennan Johnson doesn't do it. And just to go on that point, what you said about his intelligence, the reason I say that is because I don't think that's in intelligence. I think that's something he's been coached into, about getting into the right positions. I don't think that's football intelligence. Football intelligence is what I see Bergvall. He's got football intelligence. You just watch him play. Look at his technique. Look at him always scanning around him all the time. We saw it again on the weekend, right? He's constantly scanning. He's constantly driving. He knows what he's got good technique. And you see, for a kid that young, he's only going to get better as long as he stays like injury clear. But with Johnson, I just see someone who's just been trained to do that. I don't see, he might be good at doing that, but I don't see he's got football intelligence. It's a big difference for me. And that's what I see with him. He just doesn't have that intelligence. Again, when in the last game we saw him, there was one moment where he was through on the right wing, and he's like, and he turns back, he didn't know what to do with the ball. And it's like, come on, man, you're a footballer. The goal's in front of you, not behind you. So it's kind of like how I feel with him, but yeah.
Regardless, I mean, look, today's not about Brennan Johnson. Today's about getting into the quarterfinals and Odebear having a brilliant display, scoring 2 goals. So you've got to give him a lot of credit, Odebear. You know, he's been out for so long, and to come back pretty much, and to come back to put in a performance like that in such a pivotal game, got to give him so much respect for the quality that he has shown. And you got to say now, with that performance, he's got to have that right wing down on lock, because I think he's the perfect Ange winger in terms of one-on-one dribbling, in terms of being able to beat your man, but also getting into those areas that Brennan gets in to score. The goals that he scored today were like that.
I think he would be like Brennan Johnson, but a lot what we want Brennan Johnson to be, basically. That's what I think. That's why I think Odebear would be on the right wing, because he's actually not scared. He's really quick feet. He's quick. He doesn't stop. Gets you off your feet a little bit in moments in the game. He's not the finished product, not at all, by any shot of, but. Yeah, I like what I see with him so far, and he's still quite raw still, but he's got ability, this kid. And I don't think there's anyone better to play on the right wing right now. I think he is the perfect Ange player. Like, he's what Ange wanted from Johnson, I think. And I think you give him that run in that place, I think you'll be surprised to see what he could actually do from the right wing.
Yeah, and from one kid to another, and Lucas Bergvall. I mean, what a mature display today.
Yeah, he was.
From Lucas Bergvall in the 6. I mean, the amount of times he was sitting here and saying he's getting in front of his midfielder every time, with every kind of 50-50, every kind of loose ball. He was winning everything and gobbling up everything in the middle of the park. I mean, Lucas Bergvall put in one of the best displays in the middle of the park today that I think he's put in a Spurs shirt. I really believe that. I think today, because I look at Bergvall pretty much every week, and he blows me away every week. And I think this display was one of the best of the lot.
It was a very good display, bar the mistake. Because it was
just unfortunate.
It was.
Both of them having such great games.
Yeah. It was. And he's not. I think they were saying he's 19, so he must have turned 19 not long ago then, or recently. But for someone that young to put in the performances he's been like integral for our team. And he is integral for our team. The way we want to play, I think he's exactly what Ange wants from a player. And if he keeps progressing the way he is, he's only going to get better. And I'm excited to see what he could be like in the next year or two, or even 3 years, as long as we can keep him. Because I think if he keeps developing the way he is, then all the big clubs are going to sniff around him. Barcelona wanted him, and I think he came to us because we were going to offer him more minutes, and rightly so. Yes.
He's developing at a scary rate, isn't he, Bergvall? I mean,
he is. He's a talented player.
Only just
he's
turned
very
19
talented.
a few weeks ago, right? And he's putting in this kind of a mature display. I mean, that kind of display today, someone like Rodri would be happy with that display today. I'm not even joking.
He's getting more confident. You could see what he was doing as well today, like cheering up the fans at times in the game. He's getting more confident in his ability, and I think he's like. It's like he's becoming more free in his mind to play his game and just let him play his game, because that's what he's good at. And you could see like his ability to drive the ball forward, his touches, that bit where he took those two to flick the ball past that player. Or was it twice he did it in that one move? And that was like, oh, it's just silky. It's silky. He produces these silky moments. And the stuff when he did that shot in the first half where he just caught, it was a beautiful shot from a difficult angle, and it was just over. And I think that's the sort of things that he needs to get better at, which I think he will. And again, against Bournemouth, where he hit that shot from, was it outside the box, and you could see it from where we were sitting, it's like curling so beautifully, just past onto the post. And I just think he's just going to get better and better, this kid. And I just pray that he doesn't have injury problems, because for someone at his age, he's strong, he's aggressive, he's technically really good. You can see he's got ability in his shooting. He's got like kind of the whole range of like your modern day midfielder, what you want to see in a player, and the fact that he can actually play that 6th role. And I think right now he's probably, on form wise, I think he's the best out of the bunch we've got right now to play in that number 6. So I would play him there at the moment.
You mentioned it before, right, about the experienced players, the senior players coming in and stepping up for us. And I made it very clear when I was speaking with Sim in the preview of this game. And he agreed, we spoke about it together. The experienced players had to step up for us today. It's been too many games where they've gone missing. When you look at the Liverpool second leg, when you look at the Villa game, when you're looking at pivotal game for us this season, the experienced players have gone missing. Today, they all stepped up. They all stepped up. So you've got to give them massive credit. From you're looking at the back, you're looking at the leadership group in itself with Vicario, the amount of times he just gobbled up balls in the air. Romero, I don't think he put a foot wrong today. Romero was out of this world.
He was really good today.
Van der Ven, I mean, he was gobbling up everything for fun. You're looking at Maddison, obviously got the goal and he was a threat throughout.
He had a good game. And he got better as the game went on.
Exactly. He got better. He got better
as the game went on.
Sonny, a constant threat on that left-hand side. Had his hand to play in 2 of the goals that we scored. First one, pressing high up the front. I think it was the second or third one as well. He had a massive part to play.
He did.
So I think, and Dom Solanke as well. I think Dom played really well in his aggressive nature up front.
He played well. It's a shame, like you want to see your strikers get a goal, and it's unfortunate for him he didn't like get on the score sheet. He had a moment or two in the game, but it wasn't really clear cut. And I do want to see more from him as a striker to actually score goals. But in terms of his performance today, it was good. And he's just come back as well. So, and we thought we'd lost him again for like the rest of the season. So it's good that he's back, because he does. I think he does fit the system more than what the other players that we have, more than Son, more than Tell. I mean, and Richarlison, I think he's way better than Richarlison.
I always say with Dom Solanke, right, when he's not getting in those goal-scoring positions, he's always still providing so much for the team.
He is, yeah.
He
Most of the time, he is.
He's an aggressive nature. He wins the ball. He's a consistent threat. He's so good in his aerial duels. And that's one thing I was really impressed with Romero today, in his aerial duels. I don't know what the stats are, but I can't remember him losing one. I think he was so dominant.
He was really
with
good today,
him and Van der Ven today, I thought Romero was so dominant in the air. Van der Ven was so dominant on the ground. And when Van der Ven went off, you saw kind of a bit of confidence sap out from the defense.
Yeah, definitely. It's like I was saying earlier. I think what I saw, anyway, from my opinion, is when Van der Ven went off, for me, when Van der Ven was on the pitch, and Romero, it looked like, because the players know that they're such good players, the players in front of them, all the players in front, they feel like they're more confident they can just go and play their game, because they know those 2 players are gonna keep them protected most of the time, right? Or that's how it kind of looked. And then as soon as Van der Ven went off, and the other players came on, it's like those players started panicking a bit more in possession, and they're losing the ball a bit more, they're making mistakes more, and that's what did eventually lead to the goal, the AZ goal. And I think that's what worries me, is that we're basically relying now on these two players being fit for us to kind of be able to play more like the way Ange wants them to play. And then if they're not playing, it's like it all goes out the window basically. Because I think if we had that team from the beginning of the match, I think it'd be a different game. Yeah,
100%. I don't think we go through.
I don't think so either.
Romero and Van de Ven don't start this game.
I don't think so either.
Pivotal to us. So pivotal to us. And you saw as soon as Van de Ven went on, it was panic stations all round.
Oh, yeah.
Panic stations all round. And it was a really hard kind of last 25 minutes to watch. But we got the job done.
We did. And do you know what? I've just thought of this now, I was thinking, if I was Ange Postecoglou, I'd be making sure that those two players are as fit as possible during the Premier League games, as in like not to overuse them in the Premier League games, because the Premier League is done. Like, forget it, right? Those two players have to be fit if we have a chance of even sniffing at that trophy this season in the Europa League. They have to be fit, because if one of them is not fit, especially Van de Ven, there's no chance we're going to win that trophy. Yeah, in my opinion.
So Frankfurt in the next round, they've just completely dispatched of Ajax, quite simply. We played them a couple of years back in the Champions League. I think it was under Conte. What do you fancy our chances? Good side. Obviously, they've lost Omar Mamouche.
They're a different team without him, but they're still a good side.
Yeah, exactly. They still completely battered Ajax today.
It's going to be a tough game. It's going to be an extremely tough tie. I don't know. It's hard to say, because it's like, for me, it all depends on those two players being fit. Actually, to be honest, it depends on that first 11 tonight having to be fit. Because if that first 11 is not fit, I don't think we have a far less chance. And what I saw in the second half when they made those subs, if that was the team playing against Frankfurt, no chance of we getting through. Not at all. So I don't want to say we're going to get through or we're not, because I want to see what happens with the players. I'll be able to give a more clear indication close to the time, as long as those players are fit.
Yeah, it's going to be a very tough tie.
100%.
We need all our players on it. We need to show the intensity like we showed
both legs
for the majority of the game today. And you're looking at the route to the final now. So it's Tottenham, Frankfurt in the quarters. The quarterfinal that's matched up with us is Bodo Glimt against Lazio. Lazio kind of not sneaked through, but they had a tough game against Victoria Pilsen. Yeah. Bodo Glimt in their own right, they could do something against Lazio. I really like this Bodo Glimt side. I think they're a brilliant team, full of goals. So if we get past this Frankfurt side, I mean, we've got a very good chance of making this final, in my opinion.
It's a possibility. I mean, Man United winning today, it just feels like it's gearing up for a Tottenham United final, and yeah, that worries me. To be honest, that worries me a lot. Beating them.
Book your flights to Bilbao, then. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, book the flights to Bilbao. Book the hotels.
If you don't make it, Danny's refunding you all.
Yeah, definitely not. I'll give that job to Nick. Nick is going to be doing that. He's the ticket man.
All right. So, yeah, brilliant stuff. Spurs, 3-1 here. We got the job done in a very good performance, in my opinion. Most enjoyable performance I've seen. Man of the match?
For me, it's between Sonny and... I think I'd say Sonny. I'd probably go Sonny, yeah.
I'm going to go for Bergvall, I think Bergvall was that good today, controlling it in the middle of the park, never letting an opposition have a moment's breath, always getting in front of the opposition field. I thought Bergvall was absolutely brilliant.
The only reason I wouldn't give it to him is because he did make the mistake that cost us the goal, which then put us into that pressured mode, right? And I say Sonny because I think I haven't seen a performance like that from Sonny for a while, and he was crucial to 2 of the goals, and he was what I saw from Sonny today was that what I've wanted to see for a while was that drive, him running at players, getting in the right positions. You could arguably say even Van de Ven, because of the difference. I mean, I don't think he was a man of match performance, but he was a massive difference. And Maddison was really key. He just kept getting better as the game went on.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So that is your instant match reaction. Spurs through into the quarterfinals of the Europa League against Eintracht Frankfurt. Now it is your chance to have your say on the fan show. And first up, we have got the Jorical people. Yes, Jory, how are you doing, my friend?
Oh,
I can't hear you,
him.
Jory. Are you on mute?
Rookie mistake. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I can hear him. Can you hear him?
I can't.
Oh,
I can hear you. I can hear
Hold
you.
on. Yeah, I hear him still.
Okay.
How's
Yeah,
it going, Jory? You
how are you,
enjoy that
Jory?
performance today?
I did indeed. I thought that was something that's left our club a long time ago, but clearly there's some life left in this corpse.
So can you sit here and say you can't smile without Tottenham?
Well, tonight we could say it at least, you know. So, but no, it was good to see. I kind of completely agree with your points there. I have to say, though, I have to kind of blow my own whistle here. Nobody's going to tell me that Ants is not following me closely on social media. Because I did a video with Barnaby, and we were kind of before the game yesterday, and we were kind of speculating what we could do and how we should go about it and stuff like that. And I actually came up with the solution that we should maybe start using the fullbacks to create a midfield overload rather than offensive overload. You know, to both shore up the defense
Yeah.
and to fix this midfield problem that we've been having for so long. You know, and when you know it, we had a midfield overload with a fullback tonight. You know, and Odeberg, who played more of he was in the offensive part of it. He was kind of not going. He was almost playing like Kulusevski plays his wing role a little bit, like going into an almost 10 role as well, which I thought was really good to see. And these are kind of the tweaks that need to happen constantly. You know, like the thing with the fullbacks. You know, going in as strikers is long. You know, sussed out, and people are ready for it and have answers for it. You know, we can create other overloads. We can do other things. We can use the fullbacks, especially when we're always having, you know, the ball over into completely open space in our own half. You know, because there's no fullback there because he's in the other end of the pitch usually. Then this is definitely a very viable solution, I think. So I was super happy to see it because, even though I was super happy to see the performances from the guys, I was most surprised and happy to see that tactical tweak, which did a lot for this game. I think that was what kind of, because the only chance, we always knew that they were going to sit back and they were going to try and do us on the break, you know, try and counter us. And normally, if we was playing the way we've played for way too long, that would have been much more viable than it was tonight. Also, like you talked about, and I agree with you, Ben. For me, Bergvall was the player of the match. You know. So also, of course, just Bergvall's amazing performance in midfield also added to that even more, you know. But it just, all of it kind of gelled from the midfield, and because it took a little bit of time for the offense to kind of unlock it, you know. And when you have that strong midfield, you get the time, you have the time, you know. So yeah, I was super happy to see that, and also like Odeberg, like I've always liked when I've seen him, and tonight he kind of came fully out of the closet as the silky smooth player that he is, you know, and it's clear to see how amazing his technique is, and he's quite quick, you know. He's actually quicker than I remembered him, and I was impressed at how cold, you know, how much nerves of steel he showed in those moments. You know, it was not really easy goals. You know, he had to do his thing, and he did it. So I was really happy with that. And I also, Danny, good to see you, Danny, back on the channel.
Thank you, Jory. It's nice to see you as well. It's been a while, my friend.
Yes, I was happy seeing also Sonny looking more like the old Sonny. He started off a little bit, a little bit rusty,
I
but
agree.
uh, before the game, I just saw and I got this feeling that Sonny's locked in. He's on a
We said
mission
that, didn't we?
tonight.
I said the exact same thing on the
Yeah,
watch
really,
just
yeah.
before. Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, because and also a thing with Sonny when he's really determined, it takes him, and just in general, both it can be over weeks with losing his touch and finding it. It's kind of like he's such a fine-tuned machine that just a little bit off, it goes completely off. But when it clicks, then he becomes unplayable, and he's getting there. He's not quite there yet, It would be fantastic if he could peak now in the Frankfurt game, So that would be, and also I totally agree with you guys. We really need to wrap these guys in cotton and make sure nothing happens to them before that game. We definitely need to prioritize the Premier League late games. Yeah.
I think they're so integral to the way we played tonight, and it shows that the massive drop when they're not all those. I think that starting 11 when they are playing right now, I think it's the best team, and that's my worry is that if one of those players gets injured, especially one of the centre backs, or even someone like Bergvall right now. Because I think he's the best midfielder at the club at this moment, central midfielder.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, Jory, would you say then, right now, Bergvall is maybe best suited for the number 6 based on our current midfielders and their form that they're showing us?
I would flip it around a little bit, Danny. I would say Bergvall is our best number 6.
Yeah.
So that's maybe not his best role, but he is the best in that role at our club.
I agree with that completely.
Yeah.
Completely.
But maybe, I don't think he's worse as a 6 than as an 8. So at least tonight he was amazing. Of course, there was that mistake, but this is kind of the stuff. Like I have no grief. This is an 18-year-old guy, like Odeberg. How old is he? Like 21 or something, So
really
this
young.
is the kind of stuff that you have to expect and have to forgive with young players like this. It was a pressure moment. It was completely the wrong decision, but he made up for it in every other way. And
that's true.
Yeah. So it's worse when you see structural stuff and your senior players basically not being able to hit a simple pass and stuff like that. Then there's something worse going on, and that we've seen way too much of that this season, So so it really surprised me. I thought we would win tonight, but I actually predicted the score on
Danny.
I did as well.
Video,
I said 3-1 as well.
But I wasn't expecting any kind of. I wasn't expecting to be impressed by the performance, even though I thought we were gonna win. But I was impressed. I was happy with it. So yeah.
Jory, does it concern you about when Van der Ven went off today? We did look a little bit ropey, and
Yeah. That's another point. Yeah, exactly. It's like it's so clear that Van der Ven's recovery is so integral to it, but also even him, carrying the ball out of defense as a part of the transition is also very important. Also, another thing, that's another tip that I'll give Ans that. I didn't tell Ans to do that maybe, but I said in the Barnaby video that we are very much missing Romero's vertical line splitting passes, and we got a couple of those, maybe 3 or something. Some of them were better than others, but just the fact that you have a Romero doing those passes means that the defense now has another added thing to be worried about. When he's not there, then nobody is really doing those passes, and it's not. It makes it easier for the defense knows what's coming. Then So yeah, I was really, and just in general, I don't know if you noticed this, but the amount of dynamic movement in the whole team, in the whole game. It was not that they were running more or sprinting more or anything. They were just always rotating, always finding space and stuff like this, which we've seen so little of. This is one of the things that frustrates me the most, is to watch them just stand in their little box, run against the wall, come back, run against the wall, come back, and that, I think, that's often stuff you see that from teams that have a ideological kind of approach. The coach is a hardcore system manager, and we have one of those.
Yeah.
Then the players kind of often kind of check out with their own decision making, I think we've seen too much of that. Yeah.
Just to add on that, Joe, to ask you this, do you think it is because that the players, because what I see is when Romero and Van de Ven are not playing, when they are playing, you could see what you said about they're passing it through the lines, they're a lot more confident. The players seem that it feels like they are allowed to be more themselves, or they feel like more themselves, and it allows them to play that way that we kind of saw with that intensity, that conviction, that safety net behind them. It's like they feel that, oh, don't worry, we've got Van de Ven and Romero behind us, like we're good. But it's like as soon as one of them is not playing, it's like you see the sideways passes, the backward passes to the keeper all the time.
Yeah.
Do you think it is really because of them two players?
No, I completely agree, and I think it's because they've been stung so many times by the integral weakness of the system, which is the lob over, which is the massive amounts of space that the fullbacks leaves behind them, So they themselves are always worried that this is coming next, But with a Van de Ven, any kind of lob over is recoverable because he is so freaking amazing in speed and also in tackling. His tackling is just as good as his speed, So
I agree.
So yes, then the rest of the team now start to exactly express their role more freely and so on, And I think also, I think when you have this kind of partnership that Romero and Van de Ven have, you start your transition or your offensive move, you start that with something that's very, even though Van de Ven isn't that old, he's still kind of a senior experienced guy. So you started off with something that's very, usually has a little bit of a depth to the thinking behind it, so it can evolve. Even if the pass doesn't come off perfectly, then it's not going to put it into danger or whatever. And this is what younger players lack. They'll try the pass that the coach told them to do, but they underestimate the risk that is in that moment, or and so on and so on. So you start off, your first move in your offensive move is a really solid move based on their experience, and then you go from there, and that gives the next line, then maybe Madison takes it. Madison is another one with experience and has seen various, outcomes of moves before. So he is also quite good at kind of predicting what the dangers can be in the next forward move, So, and Madison, by the way, was really, really good as well. He showed a lot of good things. I was a little bit disappointed seeing Porro getting hustled off the ball. I think Porro is one of our best servants. He's one of the most professional guys in the club, and he's also one of an amazing shot. So I think he should definitely have his free kicks when they are in his area. So, but like I can. It's also like the third goal, which was absolutely amazing, and which was basically classic Ants goal. The whole move, That's also that. I loved it. I freaked out. But
we did here as well, Joey.
It was a great goal. It was a great goal.
But at the same time, I was a little bit annoyed because this is a little bit the utopian football. You're trying to go for some kind of masterpiece for the whole football, that if anything goes off by the slightest, the whole thing tumbles down,
Yeah.
And that's not a viable strategy. But it's definitely patterns you want to. This is like early Pep versus Pep, later Pep. I would say, it's like trying to copy the magical Barcelona team, or just being dog determined to get it over the line. That's kind of the difference in kind of approaches there. So yeah, it was gorgeous. I freaked out, but as soon as I was done freaking out, I was also a little bit, this is what we tried 2,000 times and it doesn't come off.
That's the problem. It's not.
Jory, where are you at now then with Ange? Has your opinions changed at all after that game?
No, it hasn't. I mean, if he kept tweaking it like this, it would change, because I don't think, I mean, I in general, I'm not the biggest system fan, I'm much like, give me Ancelotti over Klopp any day, or so on, like, I do like the kind of pragmatism, and I also do like where you put it a little bit on the players to evolve and express themselves, and we have players that can definitely become superstars in that role. Like Deki is a player that needs to have that kind of a space to grow, and so, but I do feel like, and I'm kind of slightly wondering if Matt Walsh is playing a bigger and bigger part in all of this, because I see Ants now conferring more and more in game with him, where I never saw it before, but this is kind of starting to be regular now. So I'm kind of thinking that he's starting to be a factor in the in-game situations now. So
it's possible. I did notice that a little bit during the game, that he was kind of communicating with him a lot more.
Yeah, and I saw it last game as well, and I think the game before that as well. So, but which is a good thing. I mean, that's great. To use the people that you have and all of that. So I'm happy to have him change my mind. That would be fantastic.
That's what we all want, Jory. That's what we all want, because I think people confuse it too much. Like, a lot of people, the narrative around maybe people in the comments and social media, oh, you're Ange out, so you want us to lose, and you want this, and you want that. All we want is the best for Tottenham Hotspur, right? And if Ange can win and change our mind, that's what we all want.
Yeah, but Ben and Danny, listen, there's so many fans that don't lie over. They don't spend their whole week lying over the various evidence and going through everything, and they are just there for the feeling, and they really do believe that it's just a question of believing hard enough, then it'll all go through. And if it doesn't go through, if we don't win anything, it's because we didn't believe hard enough. But folks, it's not that way it works. There's other factors there, like tactics, like strategy, like recruiting, like money spent, like
I mean,
all kinds of
we
stuff,
don't even have a full medical team. We've still got job applications on LinkedIn for a medical team.
Exactly. So. But this is where I would say Anne's tenure is not wasted at all, even if it goes and he gets fired and we don't get any joy from Europa League and whatever. And the same I would say with Conte and Mourinho and stuff. And it's kind of the slow evolution that's kind of unearthing all the systemic issues in the club, and slowly revealed. I mean, we've seen now that there's a lot more people that are aware of what Levy Outers have been touting for years and years now than ever before. And for me, the goal is not to get Levy out and then everything is fixed. Not at all. Levy can stay for me. I just want these things. I want football to be run at the maximal football possibility that we can. Levy can do his thing with the commercial side. I just want it to be a through and through professional club. And for me, it's clear that it's cooperation, and with that cooperation, there's a lot of imposters in the football side of things, in staffing, in coaches, maybe sometimes, whatever, and players sometimes as well, and so on. We just need to be one of these clubs that whatever level we're at, we need to run it at the best of our budget's capability, and then I'll be a happy guy, But I don't think we're there. But I do think Ans has both helped with his own experience, because he has experience around that stuff for sure, and I do think he has useful input in that. He's also helped some of the youngsters develop quite nicely, I think. I don't think many people point to Decky as one of those. Decky being a really good friend of mine, from I put that on Decky himself. Decky is completely in charge of his own.
Decky wouldn't be the player without that interaction with the Joracle.
No way.
No, of course not. But yeah, like I said, I do think I do think Ans can still help in this regard. But to be honest, like Barnaby asked me a similar question on one of his videos, and I said, if you gave me the carte blanche to kind of try and fix the club, I would probably at this moment put Paratici in a sporting director role with full control.
Yeah.
Levy can set the budget, that's fine, but actual full control and staffing from the ground up, staffing everything from new. And then I would actually be on board with getting Potts back to regain that synergy that he created originally, because we have to understand also Tottenham now, with the Tottenham that we now miss, is the Tottenham that Potts created. It's not the Tottenham before that. It's not the Tottenham. It's that modern version which we want to get back, because now we've lost it. Now we're talking about getting back to being a top of the league type club. Being regularly in Champions League and so on. Well, like talking about titles and stuff like that. That's not in the picture anymore. Now we just need to stop the bleeding, basically. So
it's funny you mentioned Poch there, because Poch was actually talking about Spurs today.
Yeah.
And
really, what did he say?
Yeah, he's talking about how he's got unfinished business there, and he was saying that. Well, I'll read you the quote. I'll read you the quote, and he said, "To be honest, the day that I left the club, I always thought that one day I would come back. I felt the moment that I left, I had unfinished business, and that's what it is, a dream. For sure, it's a club that is always going to be special for me, and I would like one day to have the possibility again to finish in a different way."
Yeah, I mean, and that's also another thing is like there's not going to be another manager in this world that's going to bleed Tottenham like Potts is going to do. There's nobody that loves us more than Potts, and I'm not going nostalgia, guys. Even though I love the guy and I would love to see a happy ending and all of that, but I'm just saying Potts' knowledge of Tottenham is more than anybody. Like, so if anybody could come in and fix these systemic issues, I think it would be a Paratici, because he's an elite sporting director guy. And Potts is an elite coach who has this deep knowledge about our club. So I think these two guys could transform the club, to be honest.
I wish we could bring back the dream team of Paul Mitchell, just go and get him from Newcastle, bring back Poch, and then just get rid of Lange and get rid of Ange, and then see what happens. But
I would also say, by the way, because Lance has gotten a lot of stick, and I'm very happy with Lance's recruiting. But it did now come out with this January that he is very underwhelming in the negotiations and stuff like that. So in terms of like Lance should almost be like a scouting director rather than a sporting director.
I said, Jory, I said bring in Fabio Paratici to oversee everything, but keep Lange as like the kind of youth.
The sporting director,
leave as the youth recruitment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think that's spot on. I don't think that Lance is an issue as such, but he's not that leader that a sporting director needs to be.
Yeah, he seems too placid, like his.
Yeah, and I don't think he has the vision and stuff. You put
Yeah.
Paratici in there and give him full reins. He has a vision for
Yeah.
what the club should be, and that's what we need, And the same with Potts, Not only would Potts have the vision, but he also would understand everything that comes with it, and the history and the fan base and so on and so on. Like Ants, how badly did Ants misread this fan base at the start, and really a couple of times, and so even though he's front foot football and in many ways would fit Tottenham DNA, he still doesn't have that understanding of the fan base, and I don't think he will ever get it, to be honest.
Jory, do you think Pochettino would come back while Levy is still at this club?
That's yes. I think Pochettino would come back. Do I think Levy wants to face all of his prior misdeeds towards Pochettino? No, that's the last thing
I think they'll both do it. I genuinely believe they'll both do it.
Well, I think Levy will do it to save his skin. Yes.
Yeah, I think that's exactly why he would do it. I think he's been trying to rectify his mistake of sacking Poch since then. Like he said in the documentary, he said only time will tell whether it's a good decision to sack him or not. And I think he's probably looking back at it now and thinking it was the worst decision he's ever made as a Tottenham chairman. And we know he's made some pretty awful decisions over the years. But I think that's probably the worst one. Rather than actually put the money where your mouth is and back Pochettino, who what he should have done, he ended up getting rid of him.
It's the most costly decision that he's made.
I agree.
For the fan base and for himself as well, but because his brand now is taking a bit of a tumble, and that's basically after years of this kind of mismanagement, So
it's the constant churning of different managers and different systems and different players, and spends hundreds of millions with not a set idea of philosophy of how he wants to play football. And we've gone from attacking to defensive, and just attacking again.
And this also that's what I mean about the Tottenham that we miss now is the Tottenham that Potts created. It's like that Potts created this global powerhouse that was this most sexy, like Tottenham under Potts was grabbing all the headlines in Iceland, in Copenhagen. Like that was the games that you wanted to hear about. That was what made the highlights on the news after the news and stuff like that, because it was electric and everything about it was electric. And now they created the stadium as well and so on. So everything fits that evolution, but the football has regressed enormously.
Jory, always a pleasure.
Before Jory goes, I want to ask you one quick question, Jory.
Okay.
Was Dominic Solanke's back heel, was it a mistake or did he mean it, that pass to Odebear?
I don't think it was a pass. It was an attempt at a shot. Yeah,
that's what.
I agree.
Now we've settled that, Jory.
Jory's spoken now. That's it. No one else gets to answer that question.
Big up, Jory. Thanks for coming on.
Lovely to see you,
Jory.
Great
seeing you guys. Take care, boys.
Take care, Jory.
Oracle, as always.
Always good to hear from Jory.
I've been told. I've been told by Mr. Brian Daigle he is very soon. He will be with us very shortly. But
we got a postman here.
We've got a postman here. He's. I'm surprised he's not posting at the post office right now. But Mr. Box Office TV, how you doing, mate?
Up, Alex. And he's on mute.
You're on mute, Alex.
Sort it out, Alex. Come on, mate. You're on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we hear you now. We hear you now.
Oh, okay, let's get straight to it. Firstly, just to remind people, yes, we won the game. Well done. We could get the poppers out, but we should be beating Alkmaar. That's one thing. Just to remind you about facts, because people don't think about facts because I don't do feelings either. They don't think I'm smart enough to do facts, but I've got facts here right now. We haven't won 10 home games. We can't win 10 home games in the last. That's like the last 15 years. That is now, by the way. We've lost 14 games, well, 18 games overall as well in the league. So that's facts for you, okay? So just to remind people that this is not a great season still. You know what I mean? Another one as well. You remember from that Liverpool game that we lost 3-6? Yeah. Where would we be in the form table from that moment, guys? Can you hear me? I can't hear you. I can't hear you. What's going on?
1 second, Alex. One second.
1 sec.
Can you hear us now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Someone's trying to ruin my moment here. But the point is, yeah.
It's Vinny's fault. I'm joking.
Yeah. Where would we be in the form table, by the way, from that game from Liverpool that we lost 6-3?
Not very high up.
17th.
Yeah.
And who was playing most of those games, by the way? Oh, yeah, Bergvall. Oh, yeah, that's a subject I want to talk about. Bergvall. Yeah, Bergvall.
Let's talk about
Let's
Bergvall.
Let's talk about Bergvall.
Go on, then.
Because when I was hearing some of the stuff that you're talking about Bergvall, what are you? Can you tell me why are you telling me that he's really, really good at the moment? Why are we overhyping this player?
Because he is.
He is good, Alex.
No, he isn't.
You
Yeah,
can't.
he is.
Honestly,
Danny, you're doing it again, Danny.
No,
You're doing
you
it
have
again,
to be.
Danny.
You have to be
No,
blind
Danny,
to
you're
not see
doing it
he's
again.
got ability.
Danny, Danny, don't talk over me.
Doing
I know what you're
what?
gonna do. I know what you're gonna
Alex,
do, Danny.
I think you're confusing results. For
No.
He's confusing Bergvall for Benson.
Don't you two talk to yourselves. No. You only time to. No, guys. Without me interrupting your little conversation here, right? Let me just ask you a question. Please tell me why you're telling me this guy's going to be very good in the future when really at the moment
he's 19 years old.
Very good, Alex.
Okay,
He's
yeah, I know he's
very
19
good.
years old. I know he's 19 years old, but what was that mistake that he did for the goal then?
Yeah, he made a mistake. What
Yes, he
19-year-old
made a
kid doesn't
mistake.
make a mistake?
Exactly. So if he's
But
that good,
what 19-year-old kid doesn't make a mistake,
Alex.
No.
No. You listen to me. Instead of focusing on that one mistake, what about the other bloody 90 minutes that he played today?
Okay, cool. But you're telling me that he's very good then, right? You're talking like he's going to be world class already.
He could be.
Already.
He could be. We're not saying he is going to be.
So why are we making such a big deal about him then?
Because he's got ability at his age.
That you need to talk about,
Alex.
The person you need to talk about. No, Danny, Mr. Box Office is speaking now. You sit down and listen, and then I'll talk. Then you can talk. My point is though, yeah, right. The person you need to talk about that we're missing out at the moment, that had a good game, that's got a lot of criticism, is Madison.
Yeah, he's definitely
Madison.
had a great game.
That's the person you need to talk about.
So both of them couldn't have had a good game.
So when Madison came off, what happened? Oh, nothing happened. Yeah, we were lucky to get out that game.
But also, Alex, Bergvall came off, and look what happened.
Okay, cool.
But Alex, Bergvall right now at this club. Let me just say this: Bergvall right now at this club is our best performing central midfielder by a mile.
Based on what?
By a mile.
Based on what?
Based on what he's showing us. For a 19-year-old kid, he is performing. What? So you're telling me Basuma and Bentancur are doing better than him?
Okay, but you know where they are at the moment in terms of their form.
As well. No. Alex, I'm talking about the current players we have in the squad available to play right now. Out of those four midfielders who play centrally, who is the best one right now? It's Bergvall, right?
Okay, so that means that we haven't got that much quality then, haven't we then, bro?
Yeah, of course, but a 19-year-old kid is the one outperforming those professionals.
No, if we're going to talk like that, Danny, no, I'm sorry, we're going to have this debate right now, yeah? If we're going to talk like that, yeah, right? Okay, I expect him to perform every single match very good then, right? Then he has been playing good. No. If we're going to do that, overhype our youngsters like this, yeah, right? I expect him to perform, and if he doesn't perform, he gets the same criticism that Bentancur's getting, Basuma's getting, Sar's getting, all our midfielders in. If we're going to start doing that, because this
Alex,
is what I'm saying. And
all
then,
I've seen
and
from
then
Bergvall,
next season, right? If he's not performing as well, again, if he doesn't improve next season, he gets criticism again. Don't care about his age.
But Alex,
of course,
we're going to do this.
That makes sense, Alex.
No, because you're overhyping him.
You
That's
got to give him
overhyping him,
praise.
bruv.
You
No,
got to
'cause
give him praise for the way he performed today.
Alex,
and the way
he's
he
a
has been
youngster, bruv.
performing.
He's so rash, bro. He is rash.
Yeah, because
he
he's
is
yeah,
rash.
no, but Alex, right?
He's rash
Alex,
as
let me
like
just say
anybody,
this.
bruv.
Let me just say this, Alex, right?
Go on then. Go on then.
The last, I'd say month and a half to 2 months, he looks like he's getting progressively better, right?
Based
and
on
today,
what?
based on what I'm
His
seeing in front of
performance
me,
level.
right? What I'm seeing in front of me, compared to what our other midfielders are offering, he's offering far more, and he's the youngest out of those central midfielders we have to choose from. The fact that tonight was one of his best performances in a Spurs shirt in the number 6 role, he's not even a number 6. He's playing, yeah, but he's playing. No, it's not. He's playing better than Bentancur, better than Basuma, and better than Sarr. Tell me how those 3 players I just mentioned are playing better than him.
No, that doesn't take a lot though, doesn't it? Doesn't take a lot.
Yeah, but the fact that he's the youngest in that selection that is playing and he's performing better than all of them. So what does that tell you?
Alex, no wonder they call you the bloody ratings killer, because you're shitting on our best player that's been playing over the last few
ridiculous.
months.
No.
Bergvall has been the one that has been stepping up for us week in, week out, as an 18-year-old, as a 19-year-old. No wonder you're the ratings killer, because you talk absolute garbage when you talk about Lucas Bergvall. Absolute garbage.
Because we've been so crap this season. We've been so crap this season. We overhype players because we've been so crap this season.
No, it's nothing to do with it. There's nothing to do with overhyping players.
And Archie Gray. The example of both Archie Gray and the Bergvall. Yeah? Right? And
no, Alex, I'm sorry. I'm not having this slander on Lucas Bergvall.
I know you're not. I know you're not having it. I know you're not having it, Danny.
Alex, I'm going to say this now. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Out of those central midfielders, right, he's got more intelligence than all of them put together. Right, what I've seen this season, he's got way more intelligence than all of them. Just
based on what?
Alex, wait, have you been going to the games? Have you been going to the games to see him? Right. Did you watch the last game? Did you go to the Bournemouth game?
Yes. No, I didn't go to the Bournemouth game. He had a few months.
So you didn't see how he was playing, right? As a central midfielder, what you should be doing, right, is you're always scanning around you constantly. He doesn't stop looking around his area.
What about the ball then, bro? You talk about Rodri.
Lamal's a different player, man. He's a winger. You can't compare Lamal to Bergvall. No, Alex, you cannot compare Bergvall to Lamal. You cannot do that. He's not the same player. That's like comparing Messi to Vicario. It's like you're comparing 2 different players in 2 different positions.
But it wasn't coming from my mouth, though. You compared it to bloody Rodri. You compared it to Rodri.
Who's comparing him to Rodri?
Nobody
compared him to Rodri. No one said anything about Rodri.
Compared him to Rodri.
Who compared him to Rodri?
You are off your face,
I
Alex.
swear I heard Rodri.
No, Alex.
You heard Rodri's name, but you didn't hear Bergvall.
That's what you're hearing in your head. No one said Rodri. No one said Rodri.
Okay, cool. But at the same time...
do you honestly think we're going to sit here and say that Bergvall's better than the best player on the planet?
No. But I'm just saying that I heard Rodri's name. The same reference.
I said Rodri.
He said Rodri Bentancur, he called him.
No. On the post-match reaction, I mentioned Rodri, and I said Bergvall's performance, Rodri would have been happy with that performance today.
Why?
Because it's true.
Where are we going with this?
I never said once that Bergvall is on a level anywhere close to a level with Rodri. I just said the performance today alone, Rodri would have been happy with it. I'm not comparing the 2 players.
Oh my gosh, what are we doing here? I don't even know what we're doing here.
The thing is, Alex, you've gone from debating Bergvall then to comparing him to a player in a completely different position in a different team.
No, don't put words in my mouth. No, I heard the words.
You just compared Bergvall.
Look, Alex, enough of this. Are we winning the Europa League or not? Tell me.
No, I'm not talking about Europa League because I don't think
this is what we're on today. Europa League, we got to the quarterfinals. Be happy, man.
Don't deflect. Do not deflect. Do not deflect.
Deflect off what?
You're deflecting now. Don't
deflecting from what?
I'm sorry, no, don't deflect. Don't deflect, Ben. You know what you're doing here. You know what you're doing here, Ben. Yeah.
Deflecting from what?
No, sorry. Don't deflect, Mum, because you know why I've come on, yeah. Because you know what I feel about Ange Postecoglou. Everyone knows what I feel about Ange Postecoglou and what our chances. You know what I mean? You know what to say. You know what I mean? You know what show you need to go and watch. You know what I mean? YouTube channel you need to watch, bro. My point is though, yeah, based on what Is this guy going to be that good? Because at the moment, yeah, we were saying this about Ben. No, we're saying this about Skip.
Alex.
We're saying this about Tanganga. We're saying
Alex,
this about look,
it's
No,
all
like
these other
Alex,
players, bro. So what are we talking about here?
Alex. It's like saying, am I going to become a millionaire? Who knows? We don't know. Like, we don't know what the future. We don't even know what's going to happen in an hour's time, Alex. So how can we sit? No, but how can we sit here and say that Bergvall is going to be something? We don't know.
But the way you're talking about him in the post-match, Bob, you're talking about him like he's a superstar,
because judging his performance today,
he looks like he has potential to be a good player.
Alkmaar.
It doesn't.
Alkmaar,
But he's been doing it in the Premier League.
If you want to talk about Alkmaar, then why are you waxing lyrical about James Maddison's performance when Maddison's a senior player?
Because Maddison had more influence in the game, bro.
I don't know about that.
had just as much as an influence on that game as Maddison.
As soon as Bergvall and Maddison both went off, that we completely crumbled in midfield.
I'm saying more Maddison for me. Sorry.
Yeah, but Bergvall was the one.
The real changer on that game, we all know it was Mickey van der Ven. That was the real changer in the game.
He was,
okay, we can agree with that. Don't get used to it. My point is though, yeah, we can agree with that. Yeah, but the thing is though, you can see what happened. You're taking him off because he was worried about his pace again. You know what I mean? His hamstring ticking again because we played these sorry tactics. That's it. That's a problem again. So that's why I don't think we're going to win this competition because, like, you know what I mean? Because, like, how many chances did Alkmaar have?
Yeah,
you know
they all came after Van der Ven went off, didn't they?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Romero wasn't great today. I'm sorry. I don't know where
Romero was brilliant today.
No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't.
I don't know about brilliant, but he was definitely
good. No, he wasn't. But Vicario was good.
Alex,
he saved us how many times, bro?
Can I ask you a question? Why is it that you've when you talked about Bergvall for a second, why did you focus on the one negative thing? Because we know he did the negative thing, right? And he made a mistake. But why haven't you talked about what he did good in the game?
Because I don't think he's as
No. It's not about what you think about him as a player. It's what he did today.
Yeah, I think he's okay. I don't see what everyone's fussing about. This guy.
Rate Bergvall's performance out of 10 today.
7.
That's pretty decent.
I would say it's more than that.
I think it's about an 8.
For you to come on and give Bergvall the slander that you have, and then give him
a
7 out of 10.
No. I came on because I wanted to debate you why you were talking about Bergvall like he's going to be a world-class player.
We were
the way you were talking about him in the post-match
brilliantly.
Because forget the whole thing about Ange. We've done that to death. You know I'm bored with that now. I can't be asked with that. Yeah, you know what I mean. You know what I'm being like. You know with the whole thing now. I'm bored. I'm done. But my point is though, yeah, like when I'm seeing something about people overhyping players, I have not seen this. You know what I mean? I see it from Lamau. Yeah, okay, fair enough. That's a kind of a really massive example, but I see it with Lamau because I see it with my eyes. I see it with certain players. Like I saw it with Cole Palmer, but look at him this season. You know what I mean? Yeah, I see it with other youngsters as well. Yeah, I see Chelsea bringing out youngsters so many times, like, you know, over the conveyor belt. But for us, our team, we seem to always bring out a youngster and we seem to overhype him. You know what I mean? The same with Erdelbert. He was okay today. He scores 2 goals. Good goals. Yeah, cool. But, you know, in the game, again, he was same like Johnson today. Did nothing. No,
Erdelbert didn't do nothing, Alex.
Yeah, well, no, but other than the 2 goals, what else did he do?
Did you not see that run through the middle of the park where he took out like 3 men?
Okay, but that's such one moment, bro.
He did a few. He
to tell you what else he did.
He had a few moments in the game where he actually was driving at players. He was actually taking on his man. He put a few crosses in. What does Johnson do? He doesn't even beat his first man.
No, but I'm just saying. Until he was kind of similar to Johnson though for me. That's the thing. I didn't notice him. I didn't notice him. And other than the 2 goals, and well done to him because there were 2 good goals. But I'm just saying that he could have done. I didn't notice him. Okay, Son had a good game, but yeah, that should be his standard, though. That should be his standard for a player is supposed to be a good player.
If you say he's just like Johnson, right? I'm just looking at his Odebert stats from the game today.
Don't talk to me about XG. If you're going to talk to me XG,
no, I'm not talking about XG.
Okay,
4 attempted dribbles, 3 successful, which means he took on his man successfully 3 times in the game today. Tell me, that's probably the same as Johnson's all season.
It's true.
Fair point. I mean, like I said, I don't agree with you about Bergvall. I think I need to see more. I'm sorry. I
No,
just,
but
I don't
Alex,
get it.
we're not sitting here saying Bergvall's a world-class player. And first of all, the comparison to Yamal is absolutely ridiculous because Yamal is the most talented young player on the planet. There is no 17-year-old kid, 17-year-old kid who is as good as that kid, and he's a winger.
I'm not saying that.
He's showing the kind of level. Like the way he's performing in not just in the Champions League, in every league he's played in, including the Euros, including the World Cup, wherever he's played, he is showing that ability in every single stage, right? He's showing like the Mbappe kind of level of metaphoric rise that he could have, right? And like when Messi came into it at a young age, that's the ability he's showing at this age is insane. So you cannot compare him to Bergvall, and they play in different positions.
You got my context completely wrong. I'm saying the way that we talk about Bergvall, it's like he's Yamal. That's what we're talking about.
No, but who said Alex that Bergvall is one of the best players on the planet? No one is here.
No, but the way that we're talking about him, the way we're talking about his performances, it's like
who's the way we
at the moment.
Who's the way we?
Can we not just sit here and be happy after a 3-1 win?
Ben, stop it now, Ben. Come on.
I'm going to say this, yeah.
We've just gone into the quarterfinals of the Europa League. No, I won't stop it. We just got into the quarterfinals. You know what I'm like?
I'm going to ask a question, bro.
Listen to me. We've just got into the quarterfinals of the Europa League.
Ben.
We've just been through the last 3 months, what we've been through, arguing and this and that. We're into the quarterfinals of the Europa League. Can we not just sit here and be happy for once?
Ben, bless him, bless you, Ben. But Ben, I'm gonna question things regardless because at the moment I'm done with this team. I'm done. I'm sorry. Until I see something better, until he wins this competition, I'll say sorry. Yeah, but I still don't want him here. Sorry, it's not changed.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I'm sorry. It's like, what do you want me to say? Like, you know what? You know my opinion already. So, like, I'm just saying to you.
No one's saying you can't have that opinion,
so funny
Alex.
now, bro. I'm questioning your Bergvall, and so it's like Liverpool fans with Salah. You question Liverpool fans with Salah, they get so rattled. We're doing it with Bergvall and Archie Gray. It's just so funny. You can't question
You get
anybody.
rattled when someone says they're a good player. That's who's getting rattled.
No, I don't get rattled, bro. I just come
yeah,
to
you
just,
do.
I don't get rattled.
You do get rattled. You get rattled enough to call in and question it.
No.
Yeah.
Because I don't twerk for the guy. I don't twerk for anything. You know what I mean? I've got standards. That's the problem. you know what I mean?
Standards.
Anyway, that's enough time for Mr. Box Office. You know what I mean? I gave you my facts. It rattled you, and that's all I've got to say.
It hasn't rattled anyone.
Yes, it has rattled. It
hasn't rattled because it's not facts. It's not facts at all.
Maybe I should be in that lovely studio of yours. You know what I mean? And invite Mr. Box Office. Then we can get some more ratings, and that's it. Anyway, I'm
Alex,
out of here.
We're gonna make Mr. Post Office as your new intro for your channel, like the dubstep version.
Postman Pat, and his black and white cat.
On a side note, yeah, and don't get used to this, Daddy. It's good to see you back here smiling, yeah. And you know what I'm saying.
Thanks, Alex.
Yeah? You know
I
what
appreciate
I'm saying,
it.
yeah. Big up, Ben, yeah.
Alex, just one thing. Yeah. I'm glad that you said Bergvall's going to be world class. I'm glad I heard that from your mouth.
I did say that.
We're clicking that. Bergvall's going to be world class.
Big up, Alex. Thanks for coming on, mate.
Big up, yeah,
Alex.
Good to you there. Take care, yeah. Bye-bye.
Mr. Box Office. Mr. Box Office. I think it's time to be a bit more happy, man.
Is it Mr. Drain Bagel?
Just before we get him on, let's just get through these super chats quickly. C9 says Maddison was immaculate in the second half. Then he says Bergvall reminds me of Marquisio from Juventus back in the day. If only Mr. Box Office heard that.
Yeah.
He says he's going to be a box-to-box monster for us. Joseph Vukovic says, let's see if we can keep up this type of performance against the balance the league games. Come on, you Spurs. And Israel Uncovered, my brother Amir, says Bergvall will be a star. Mercy Wilson for the brace. Brilliant win. Come on, you Spurs. Come on, you Spurs. Come on, you Spurs. Hugs Amir to everyone celebrating. Big up to you.
Big up, Amir.
And let's go on to Mr. Brian Daigle. Brian, how you doing, mate?
Big up, Brian.
I've had some fun listening to that. My dear Lord, I love Mr. Box Office. I do love him. But yeah, I will say, me and Mr. Box Office are going to disagree on quite a fair bit. Always good to see Fanny Kiriakou in the.
It's good to see you, Mr. Drain.
Fanny Kiriakou is in the studio. It's always a pleasure to see him, and of course my brother Ben. And I hope everyone in the studio is good. Right, when we have this chat, let's talk about going through to the quarterfinal of the AZ Alkmaar. It is a post-match show. Let's speak about the match, shall we?
Yes. Thank you very much, Brian. Bring a bit more normality to the fan show. That's what I like to hear. So talk to me about that game. The lineup I thought was brilliant, spot on from Ange Postecoglou, and probably the strongest lineup, right, that we could have picked.
Yeah, listen, the one thing I would have said, I would have liked to have seen Archie Gray, but doesn't matter, we got through, because I think Archie Gray has done, at least deserved to see him in midfield, at least. We had Van der Ven and Romero. We had an opportunity to see it. By the by, it doesn't matter now. We're through to the quarterfinals. Ange got it right. And today, I actually think Ange Postecoglou and the players, based on today, nothing else, deserve a little bit of credit and a little bit of respect. We're all quick to bash them. I'm very, very, since the Arsenal game, I'm very, very quick to launch criticism at Ange, but I've always said if I'm big enough to give criticism, man enough to give praise, and Ange got the lineup and everything
Spot
right
on.
today.
Yeah.
There were a few shaky moments, don't get wrong, it's Tottenham, we always do it, but the job was to get through to the next round. I personally, even myself, thought we were going to struggle when we get a draw and eventually go out. Pleasantly surprised, brilliantly surprised. We got the win. And I have to say, I don't know what football Alex is watching, and he may need to go get those glasses checked. Because I said it against
Visit to
Bournemouth. I
Specsavers
think
again.
Lucas Bergvall was fantastic today. Yes, he gave away the error for the goal, which could, listen, if we look at every single error that's gone through Spurs defenders or Spurs midfielders this season, we could have a long rap sheet. It was a mistake. It did bring it back and put a bit of tension and nerves and anxiety into the result. But we saw it through. But Danny, do you know what? You used a word. I was listening to it on the walk to the yard to the station, and you said the word scanning. And it was bang on the money. He's always looking at. He's got that before he gets the ball, he's having a look what's around. When he gets the ball, I think he put in I think, like you said, I think he's our most informed midfielder. Bar none.
100%.
Bar none. And I said it even against AZ Alkmaar when we lost 1-0 last week. Even though he was very ropey to begin with, he does not shy away from responsibility. He doesn't go, I've made a mistake, let me go quiet, let me... I think he was great today. And another person who I heavily criticise and demand more from, James Maddison.
Yeah, definitely.
Again, I people will know that watch the show. I've heavily criticised him, but his build-up and way to set up the third goal was fantastic. The way he just read to where he just dropped the shoulder.
It was brilliant. I love that.
It was brilliant. And I'm talking about this game. There's the whole thing today, this game and this game alone. And I think before we get into a conversation, Odegaard was great, but that's the difference Dominic Solanke can make. I mean, 9 times out of 10, another striker may have shot that ball rather than passing to Odegaard.
Yeah.
And that little flick of time, whether that was him going for a shot or he saw Odegaard, did he do much else? Not really what we've seen compared to previous games when his hold-up play and his... But fair play to the boys. I thought we were going out tonight. They proved me wrong. Ange got it right. And we move on to Frankfurt.
Yeah, absolutely. Brian, regarding Ange Postecoglou, you know, we've shared similar views on it for a while. I think you've been more kind of like, get him out now.
Yeah,
after that performance and us still being in the Europa League, would you still want him gone like tomorrow?
I've said, does this game change how I feel about him? No. Do I think, seeing that we have got through, he deserves to be able to play Frankfurt? Yeah, probably. Probably. Put it this way, if he'd lost tonight, I'd have been demanding he was sacked either before Fulham international break.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people that have said give him the cups. I went away from that, but it showed. And again, something Danny said earlier, we looked better today playing as a counter-attacking team. But this is the concern I have with it is we can see that we have the players and they seem to be more comfortable and fluid playing that. Yes, again, it was AZ Alkmaar, a weaker opponent. But this is the kind of way we played against Manchester City.
Yep.
When we seem to be able to have these performances, it seems to be playing
when he played counter-attacking
this
football.
Counter-attacking brand of football, as opposed to the kind of haphazard or whatever you want to call it, Premier League kind of style of football. So obviously Frankfurt, who looked very, very good against Ajax, is a much, much tougher opportunity, tougher opposition. And I think if you look at some of the chances AZ Alkmaar did have today, if that was Frankfurt, would they have taken it? Maybe. And what? Just before we go on, another person that I'm just going to give him a huge amount of credit for the one thing he did do. We've all been very heavily critical, and me included, Bissouma. That tackle at the end when Vicario made the save, I don't know if Vicario would have got to the shot, but fair play to him for getting there and putting the block in and making his body count. Like you were saying, Ben, we are through to a quarter-final.
Yeah.
In a European competition.
Yeah, exactly. And first time since, 2019, since we got to the Champions League final. Talk to me about Romero and Mickey van der Ven. So good to see these guys back. I can't remember the last time they had a partnership together and lasted, best part of an hour. It did look a bit worrying when Van der Ven went off the pitch, I'm not going to lie. But talk to me about what you noticed from these guys on the game.
Well, what I noticed with one of them is obviously there were a couple of opportunities where the one thing we know with Van der Ven that no one can touch him on is his pace. And there was a couple of times they broke free and you thought, oh God, this could be trouble. And then there he was. There he was to mop it up. It certainly adds an extra dimension. They are our best two centre-backs. There's no getting away from it. They played well. They played well with what's in front of them. Again, if it was a stronger opposition, don't know if they're that back at match fitness to sustain it, but they looked comfortable, didn't they? They did look comfortable. So delighted to see it. Got a bit worried. I got worried when they took Van der Ven off because I thought, right, they might exploit the pace. They scored their goal pretty soon afterwards for a freak goal or obviously the freak mistake. And I thought, oh no, but then again, I understood it because we need to keep him fit.
Yeah, we need to keep him fit. I thought it was the right decision, but it was just worrying how we did look a bit ropey after he went off, and it was kind of like one player kind of changes just too much in this team.
Yeah, and it seemed like they were going for that left side, weren't they? Yeah. They were. Once Van der Ven went off, they didn't try and go down Romero's side. They did try and go down Van der Ven's. But like we've said, like you've been saying just before with Alex, the main thing to do was to get through to the quarterfinal. We are through to the quarterfinal, which is all that we want. I mean, we can all imagine if we'd gone out, it would have been absolute carnage across all YouTube channels, all social media. It would have been absolutely hell for everyone going nuts. We are through to a
would have been like
quarterfinal.
Mr. Box Office's call.
Yeah.
Well, you know, the thing is as well, Ben, it's like you said, we had a conversation about it the other day. What I've seen as well on social media on the way back is, like you said, Bergvall did so much good, but everyone is focusing on the mistake.
Yeah.
It's like a player can do 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever amount of things well. If he makes one slight error, all right, this was more than a slight error, then everyone just harpoons and goes for that one error rather than say, well, look what he did during the game. Look how he was always going forward. Look how he's... And Danny, that word you use is spot on. Honestly, you should trademark Bergvall scanning. You should that should be yours, buddy. Because I can't think of a better word to use for it. He is some talent.
You know what, Brian? I mean, I used to do that as a footballer when I used to play in central midfield or in midfield, but you see it with all the really good central midfielders. I think Lampard used to do it quite a lot as well. I think Gerrard used to do it a lot. these type of players, when you see they're always it's their spatial awareness. It's their awareness of what's around them, and they're always looking for the right movement, the right space. Because once they put themselves into the right position, that's how they can affect the game, and that's what you see with Bergvall a lot of the times. But today he was doing it in a number 6 role, which was even more impressive, because I think that's probably, he's not even a natural number 6, but that was his best performance probably, is in a Spurs shirt, and it was in the number 6 role, and that's a role we've really been crying out for someone, because our players just haven't been up to scratch to even play half as good as what he's been showing us.
Yeah, you know what I loved about him today as well, and it won't get the headlines of the best part of his play. It's his anticipation and reading of the game. Every time they were trying to come out, you just saw some guy sliding in, doing the press, going ahead of Sarr, ahead of Maddison, and you looked, it was Lucas Bergvall. If there was a guy going to ground to win the ball, it was Lucas Bergvall. Yeah. His press, his energy levels, he was doing the dirty work as well. He was doing like the player I could kind of immediately come to, he was doing like the Scott Parker role.
Yeah, but
he was doing like, he was all over that midfield. He was a presence there. He was a threat both attackingly for us and defensively, keeping check. He put in a leader's performance today. I honestly, and like we said, we're talking today. I even said it against Leicester. I think Bournemouth, when he came on, he made an impact. He may not have had as big an impact, but compared to the first midfielders we had against Bournemouth, again, he wanted to get the ball forward. He wanted to. Yes, he sometimes loses the ball and gives the ball away cheaply or whatever. But this is a bit that yes, he needs to get that out of his game. But if you want a player to create and make these advanced passes rather than the 5-yard sideways or backwards passes or just passing it on to your teammate next to you, if you're going to try these different variations of passes, you're not going to get them right 100% of the time. Yeah. But at least you are trying to get that ball forward. At least you are trying to get Spurs going in the right direction. And I think he did very, very well today. I don't know what Alex was seeing. Alex can see the game differently to most people, as we all can. All of us. Listen, all of us that come on YouTube and on your shows and our own shows, and everyone in the chat, we all see football differently. We all see a player's role differently, or what the player offers differently. I mean, I'm sure people will be going on about Odegaard today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Odegaard grabbed 2 goals. Yeah. He took the first goal. Yes, it was from an error and it was quiet. He had no one around him. But someone out of form or low on confidence or help with any game minutes, that could have gone wide, over, keeper saves it. He curled it away so it went far enough away from him. And he had to be there like Brendan Johnson on the far post to get that goal coming in from the wing. And also, I think Sonny looked brighter today.
Yeah, I was about to ask you about Sonny, Brian, because you mentioned Maddison. 2 players in the leadership group of Maddison and Sonny, 2 players that Ange left out the starting lineup on the weekend, and they really seemed to reap the benefits of that today, didn't they?
They did. I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but I've seen some tweets saying there's a bit of tension with Sonny and the home fans tonight. Have you seen that?
No. What happened?
So there's a couple of things that apparently, when he went past a couple of players, then he knocked the ball out when it was easier to cut it out, when he ran the ball out of play. Yeah. So apparently the Spurs fan, when you go, just because it, and apparently there was a bit, and then Sonny said something or which has probably been taken widely out of context, but apparently a few Spurs fans, lower South Stand, reacted to it. I'm not too sure what it was, but he was brighter today. And again, people go, it's the Dutch team, blah, blah, blah. We're talking about today and on the game. Yeah. And today, could he have done more? Could he have scored? Yeah. Could he get the ball in a bit quicker sometimes when he's out wide? Possibly. But it was a better performance.
But what he did do, Brian, he had his heavy hand in 2 goals that we scored today.
Yep.
He non-stop running pretty much the whole game. He was a constant threat on that left-hand side. He was constantly asking questions. I mean, he could have scored a goal and that would have, maybe endeared himself a lot more and he would have got a lot more praise. But I was very happy with his display today.
Yeah. Again, I was pleased with it today, especially because at the moment he's been He's either been he's been very good for a half, or he's been non-existent, hasn't he? I mean, I think it was the AZ Alkmaar game, the return leg, where it was just 0-0-0-0, wasn't it? Well, he's come back and delivered a performance like that today. And if everyone's going to have a go at him for getting 0-0-0-0-0, then you look at his stats tonight, they're a lot better against the same team, then you got to give it praise, surely. If you're going to criticise for 0-0-0-0-0-0, then obviously heavily involved in 2 goals, doing what he did. Could he have done more? Yes. But has he vastly improved from the last leg? 100%.
I think regardless of the last leg, I just think he had a very good game just in his own right today.
Yeah.
So
I mean, but I'd agree. I would agree. I would expect a little bit more from him, if I'm honest. I would have wanted maybe a goal. But like we said, it's a game where we won 3-1. We're into the quarterfinals. Injured players have got more minutes. And we move on to the quarterfinals and we give everything we got against Frankfurt.
Yeah, talk to me about that Frankfurt game. Do you think after, I don't know if you saw much of the Ajax game today, but they absolutely demolished them, didn't they?
Yeah.
How do you fancy our chances in that game?
I saw the second half. And Frankfurt looked very, very good. But on the other side, Ajax looked absolutely woeful. And I do mean they looked woeful. I mean, you just got to look at that where the goalkeeper came running. Vicario with his distribution again.
Oh,
that's
boy.
the one thing. That's the one. If there's one little moany thing I got, Vicario and his distribution, he's got to improve that. He's got to. But getting back to Frankfurt, they look very, very sharp. And you think about it, they've just lost Mamouche.
Yeah.
And they still look very, very. It's the first leg home or what? First leg's home this time, isn't it?
Home, yeah.
So let's just hope we can get a very, very good performance in the first round. Because I think going back to their place will be tough. We played them in the Champions League group, didn't we?
Yeah, we beat them. We beat them. I heard a certain someone could be with me on the watch along for that game.
There could be. There could well be. Well, actually, there could not well be. There will be. Because A, I want to spend some time with you. But B, I need to sit in those chairs. I need to sit in the chairs.
Brian.
I need to sit on the low table and not have a backache. I cannot wait to be back in We Are Tottenham TV HQ.
Yeah, and we can't wait to have you, Brian. So look, all in all, a very, very good day. And I think us Spurs fans deserve this more than anyone after the shit that we've been through over the last 3 months. We are into the quarterfinals of the Europa League. We live to fight another day, and let's hope that we can go all the way. So thank you very much for coming on, Brian.
My pleasure, Ben. And Kenny Diriaku, I'll speak to you later.
No problem, Drain Bergvall.
See you later, boy.
Pleasure. See you later, man.
See you later, David.
David. I'm confused with you now.
Is that it? Is Daniel coming on? If he doesn't come on very soon, then we're going to end.
Might want to come on, actually.
The show. Who wants to come on?
I think. Hold on.
Got a super chat here from Brian K saying, "We need more creativity from the right wing. How many tap-in goals Son did get this season compared to Son provided for Brennan Johnson or whoever?" But I think they have different roles in the team. I don't think Son makes those runs into the back post. So
Arian said he'll come on.
Arian?
Yeah.
All right.
She said give him a minute, he'll come on. But yeah, I think it will be an interesting tie with Frankfurt. I think it's going to be really interesting.
You think we're going to do the job?
I said it earlier. I'm not sure. If we have those players fit, I think there's every chance we can get through over 2 legs.
Yeah,
definitely.
I just heard someone in the back end. Is that Mr. Arian himself? No, it's not. Who is it? Oh. We don't have anyone on the background, but there's definitely some noise happening there.
Is Brian coming back for round 2?
Yeah, someone in the comments, Sam Schofield, says Sims should be basking. He's definitely basking tonight.
Yeah, where's Sim? Where's Sim
Probably
tonight?
scrambling around trying to book his Frankfurt flight. That's where he is.
Are you going to try and go to the games as well?
No, I'm going to be on the watch along here with hopefully Brian. And then we'll see. Hopefully I'll go to the home leg. But
yeah.
All right, we have got Mr.
back.
Daniel T, I think, is back. We're going to bring him on in just a second. Please make sure your audio is on. And here is Daniel T. How you doing, Daniel? Yeah,
Good,
not bad,
Daniel.
my friend. Basking in the glory of making it to the quarterfinals of the Europa League with a really good performance. Probably the performance I've enjoyed the most in a very long time. So talk to me about your thoughts of the game.
It was a good, it was nice to come to see that after the weekend performance, obviously, and I mean, into the next round. So I agree. We should always beat Alkmaar, but hey, you know, the season's said otherwise so far. So yeah, it was good, man. It was a good performance. I was happy with what I saw out there. I mean, yeah, everyone really put in a shift by what I watched anyways. So obviously a little bit of a shitty circumstance there for Bergvall, but I'm on your guy's side with that one. I think he's going to come real good in the future. So hopefully we can hold on to him too. But and to be honest with you, like that's a perfect mistake for him to make in the sense where we still won. So he doesn't have to have his confidence knocked down that low now, but it's a good learning lesson for him. Again, and like, you know, like we've talked about, like he's a thing I've always noticed that about him too, is I like how he scans so much. And that's like, as a central midfielder, that is such a 100% underlooked, underrated, like attribute to have, right? Like if you look at guys like the Xavis and the Iniestas and the Xabi Alonso, like some of the best midfielders we've seen, always scanning, man, always scanning. So anyways, but yeah, really good performance. I was happy with it. A little bit shaky. Would have been nice to get the clean sheet, but still a little bit more open than I think any of us would really like to be. Like Alkmaar, again, I think if they had more quality up front, they probably could have made us struggle a bit more there. But again, I mean, they didn't bury it, so it is what it is. On we go.
Yeah, they did have like two proper gilt-edged chances, didn't they? Just after Mickey van der Ven went off, which, you know, it wouldn't be Tottenham if we didn't give them those chances at the end, just to let us sweat a little bit more. But, I mean, for an hour long, when Romero and van der Ven were on the pitch, I mean, it was a top-quality performance, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was nice to have them back in the field. Like, it just, again, that the partnership between the two of them was good. And again, a good response from Romero coming off of the last game. And again, I thought for the most part, he was all right last game, but just a little bit of, again, a couple mishaps that he had that we don't need to go back on that. But today was good. Today was very good to see the two of them back there. And I thought, again, Jed, like that kid's, he's been so consistent, like such a good player for us. Like I was again, like what a performance. And Romero was looking good back there too. And I think Romero has like more confidence too when he knows when he's at least got those two back there to cover him when he can't get back, right? Because obviously, again, like his role is to be up there, and again, he's a good creative outlet. So I think when he's got Romero and Mickey back at the back there, it kind of gives him that confidence, right? So not that Danso has done anything wrong. Like I said, I was super unfortunate he got injured. Like to me, I thought I mentioned this last or over the weekend, but like I thought he was undroppable. So it's kind of too bad to hear he got injured. But one man out and one man in, right? So
that's Tottenham Hotspur, isn't it? That is Tottenham Hotspur.
Daniel, how do you think we'll do in the next round? Because my worry is that we can't perform like that unless we've got. I think the 11 that played tonight is our best 11 right now. And I think if any of them get injured, I think it completely demolishes the chance that we could have, especially if it's Romero or Van der Ven. Are you confident that we can still maybe get through if one of those players gets injured? Because I know that we've suffered with injuries all season.
Yeah, you couldn't let me have this one day without going back into some negative spirals, eh? Yeah, you know, like
Daniel, forget it.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, the thing with this team, man, is that you look at that goal we scored, right? That third goal, and it's like, it's perfect. It's perfect football. And it's like what Decky said weeks ago when he was defending Ange, and he's like, you know, if you guys watch, like, when it works, it's just total football. And it's like, man, if we can just, like if Madison could just do that consistently more often, that half turn, knowing where everyone is around him, the opposition and our team, and it's not just him, like any of our central midfielders, or like the whole team in general. But if we can just consistently do that in the game, like no one can really stop us, right? I don't know, man. I don't.
Do you think
like it's hard to have?
No, go on, Daniel.
Sorry, go ahead. All I was gonna say, it is hard to have confidence, obviously, with the state of the season, right? And I mean, I'm an optimistic guy. I try to stay optimistic, and I'm excited about the team and what I'm seeing. Like, there's a lot of gaps that we didn't fill in the summer, and I think it really showed this season. Like, you know, I don't want to get too off topic here, but I remember like telling my friends, like, I always thought Tottenham was going to have a mid-season finish or a mid-table finish this year, maybe even worse. And you know, and I think we're kind of where I mean, getting close to the relegation battle, but was a little bit more than I thought. But anyways, but yeah, like I think this team has the capability of going through, and like, as long as, yes, like what you said, if we can just maintain the squad we have now, and like, for the love of God, just not pick up an injury and a key player right now. Yeah, because again, you're seeing Mickey and Romero. They're going to get back into match sharpness. Odebear's looking like a freaking baller. So like, same thing with him, and he's getting into that sharpness, right? Sonny, if Sonny's surrounded by players that are confident and playing well, he's gonna get brought up with them too. Like a thing that like gets overlooked with Sonny is like, man, like he had Harry Kane, right? And again, I think too, like Sonny's. I agree a lot of times that Sonny's position's better in a central role, but not as a striker. Like, he's better in a role where he's got like someone like Solanke can't. Like, I love Solanke, but he just can't do what Kane did. Like that dropping deep and that just key pass for Sonny to be like more of an advanced forward and make that cut from like a out wide, but more centrally. Like, but again, anyways, if he's got the players around him that are confident and performing, you're going to see that out of him too. So I just think they really need to just pick up on this confidence anyways, I think we can go through. I do, but it can also go horribly wrong for us, like it has in the past. Like, it's just such a hard question to say or to answer, you know. And I don't know. I think we do. I'm gonna watch. I don't know if it's Ben or Sim, but you guys are going to fucking Bilbao. I know it's gonna happen.
It's Ben. I mean, we're both going to be going to Bilbao if we do get there. But Daniel, I want to ask you a question about Ange Postecoglou.
Yeah, I was going to do the same as well.
Because
I think,
obviously there's been a lot of talk about Ange in, Ange out, Ange this, Ange that. What do you think the future holds for Ange Postecoglou and Tottenham Hotspur?
Oh, I love this one. So it's first of all, it's so nice to have someone else to talk to about this other than my girlfriend. I think I've been driving her mad this last year a bit. But
I've been on the. By the way.
No, I'm in London, Ontario.
Ontario.
Actually, I was actually just talking to Brian in the chat for this, and I wanted to link up with them and watch a couple of games with them. But yeah, anyway, so with Ange, obviously I think the writing's on the wall. If he doesn't win this trophy or at least make it to the final, I just don't. I think he's gone. Me personally, maybe crazy to say, I don't mind the guy. Again, I don't think he was back properly in the summer. I don't think he was really back properly in the winter. Like,
no, exactly.
Well, that's and that's the thing, right? They haven't, and it's like the fans, we talk about the same shit over and over. Our medical team is a joke. Our scouting team is a joke. Like, Ange came in here, he doesn't even have like a coaching staff around him, and maybe that's his style. I don't know. Like, I think it is, but like, okay, then build something around him. Like, let's get some high level like defensive coaches in there, and like, you know, like, just build something. If he doesn't have the staff he brings in, and he wants to be this dictator, okay, I guess whatever. If you want to try to let him float that, then let him float it. But if you can support him. But like, again, like, it's a hard one to say, because personally, I like how he is in the media. I know sometimes he's probably had a bit of an egg on his face, but I just see him as a guy that wears his heart on his sleeve, and he doesn't really. I don't think he bullshits too much. I think he's pretty straight up, and I think he can motivate a team. Is he a naive about his tactics? Sure. But I mean, he believes in a philosophy similar to like what we're seeing at Manchester United with Ruben. But yeah, I don't know. Again, like, he has to win. But to be honest, most likely has to win. I think even if he makes it to the final, I don't think we see him here next year. I think the trophy is his only saving grace. But just my worry with this club is, I mean, I've been following it now for probably about 10 or 12 years. And it's just like, I don't want to. I'm just tired of the cycle. Like, I want to break the cycle, and I don't want to keep going through a manager every 2 years. Like, I've never, like, to this day at Tottenham, I've never really been out on any of the coaches. I mean, I'm Portuguese, so Mourinho is like, I'm just biased towards him. I love that guy. I loved having him here. I liked Conte. Even Nuno, I couldn't believe we fired him when we did. I'm like, man, this guy's it. Like, look what he did with Wolves. And again, I'm also, before I started cheering for Tottenham, I was like, again, just through family, I was a Porto fan, so I saw Nuno there, right, and what he did. So
Well,
Yeah,
Daniel,
anyways.
like Ange is the first manager who's been at Tottenham since Poch, who's had more than one season in charge, right? As in the full calendar year. And the question I wanted to ask you was, do you think if Ange had if Ange was managing someone like Man City, for example, with the level of players that they have there, do you think his style and philosophy would work better because he's got a squad full of quality players? Because you said there earlier, one of the things you said was that like when we scored that goal, to say the third one, it's like total football, right? It was just beautiful to watch. There was like no margin for error. It was like perfection at its finest. Apart from maybe the Solanke little bit of luck with the back heel kind of. Yeah, no, he didn't mean it. He never meant it. He never meant it. But
I think he meant it.
No, guys, Daniel, you're getting off now.
No. Okay, keep going. I like
it. but do you think where maybe fans are too harsh on Ange because he's not been given the quality that he needs to play his way of football? Or do you think that's also part of him? Or what do you think that is? Do you think he could do better with better quality of players? Or what do you think?
Yeah, so I think that's a great question. I think it's a bit of both. So I think a bit of that is again his naivety and like stubbornness. He does he did make some tactical tweaks to go a little bit more defensive, but at the end of the day, we were still Hail Mary football, even with all the injuries and whatnot, right? So, but yeah, like to answer your question, Danny, I don't even think it's about having you don't need, in my opinion, you don't need to have a quality level of like a City. You just need to, if you're gonna truly invest in a coach, you just need to get him players that will play his system and will bleed for that manager every single game that they go onto the pitch. Like I was getting so sick and tired when I was hearing the rumors about, the players that are turning on Ange now and saying the training sessions are too hard, or maybe Madison and him had this like beef. And it's like, then get rid of Madison. I don't want players at this club that aren't going to play for the badge and play for the coach. Yeah. I want players here that are going to put everything on the line to win. And I want a goddamn board of directives that will back a manager and their philosophy full stop. The statistics are there that it'll win. Like if you look at Mourinho when he was at Inter, he didn't have the best. Even when he was at Porto, he didn't have the best players, but he had players that were willing to kill for him and for that badge, and just didn't take losing for an answer, right? And again, yes, you can't compare him to Ange. You're talking about a tactician mastermind versus a kind of more of a one-dimensional style of play. But I still, I do think it's a bit harsh. I see where the fans come from, and don't get me wrong. I'm screaming at the TV just like the rest of you guys at Ange when he's not making the subs I want to see him make, or whatever, or when he does get it wrong and it really goes wrong. Like he's not perfect by any means. But yeah, again, I just don't think he was ever really properly backed, and so yeah, I think there is a bit of a harsh critic on him. Yeah, like I don't know. I just think the thing I'm horrified of seeing, and we've seen it so many times, is he's going to end up getting fired, and he's going to go to the next team, and he's going to win. And he's going to win the way he wants to, and with the players that he wants to. Yeah, and most likely, yeah, exactly. It's going to be in a freaking final against Tottenham, and he's going to fucking slap us 4-0. Like, and like
he's going to say, "That's who we are, mate."
Yeah,
that's who we are, mate. That's right. So yeah. Anyways, that's a great question, Danny. And like I said, that's my opinion, and I know maybe it comes off crazy. And again, I understand the Ange out. I really do. I'm not gonna be heartbroken if he's gone. Like I said, I like the guy. I'm not Ange out, but I've never been a coach out. Like unless if there's, like someone like a Ten Hag or something, like I would. But he's not that guy for me. I don't think, because like he doesn't. Other than when he was blaming the injuries, which I thought was a valid thing to blame. To be honest, he's not like a guy that really looks for too many excuses, right? Like I know last week or the other week you made a kind of dumb comment about the pitch or whatever, but like. I don't know. Every coach has said that at least once in their career. So I don't know. Like, I don't know. Yeah. So anyways, I think it's a bit harsh, but I get where it's coming from. I truly do. So
big up, Daniel. Thanks for coming on. Really good call. Really
Daniel.
Enjoyed that. Thanks for coming on, my friend. And hopefully I'll get to speak to you again soon.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You guys have a good night. Take care.
And you, Daniel.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, who we got next?
Oh,
Well, on that note, we're going to have to end the show.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. No, I'm joking. We've got Sim back from the stadium, back from living the high life in corporate. He said, my uncle said before the game, it's going to be like having your last meal on the Titanic. Was it quite like that today?
It was how the Titanic was supposed to be intended. Unsinkable. That is going to be Andy's tenure.
You set him off now.
Come on, boy.
So you were 2 gilt-edged chances from Alkmaar from being Ange out.
Absolutely, but they didn't score, and I think we deserved the win at the end of the day. I thought we were the better team,
absolutely.
Especially before Van de Ven went off. I thought they had barely anything, to be honest. They were really struggling to create any sort of opportunity. I thought Parrott, completely different to how he was last game when in Alkmaar he was kind of able to bully Gray a bit. As soon as he comes up against Romero and Van de Ven, had absolutely nothing. He was shitting his pants. And I thought Romero was completely dominating him, had him in his pocket. Van de Ven mopping up everything. What a difference those two make. I thought in the first half especially, those two were just our best players by far. And I thought it was just, you can just see it's night and day. Having a stable partnership, having that quality at centre-back, what a difference it makes to our backline. All of a sudden, in that first half, you're looking at the comparison to how we started games in the previous few weeks. I know we didn't create loads in that first half, especially in the first half an hour. But I think the main positive I took away from that first half was how much we didn't give up, how many chances RZ didn't have. And that's just been such a stark contrast to what we've seen from Spurs, especially since Van de Ven and Romero have been missing. I know they both of them had a part to play on the weekend and we still gave up chances, but I think having those minutes in their legs, they look so much more confident, comfortable tonight. And RZ, pretty much before the last knockings when Gray was on and obviously Davis came on, it maybe unsettled the back line a bit, and they had a few scary moments. But by and large, for the first hour especially, RZ just didn't have a kick. And that is just the difference 2 quality centre-backs can make.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think like when you're looking at those two's performances specifically, you're looking at Romero was gobbling everything up in the air. You look at Van de Ven was gobbling everything up on the ground. It was just a joy to behold. And Van de Ven's performance from the weekend to tonight was night and day. But when Van de Ven did go off, you saw that RZ were able to create chances. They were able to get in behind us. So it's all about, particularly Van de Ven, just wrapping him in cotton wool for every Europa League game, because we cannot afford for this guy to get injured and not play any of these Europa League games, because you saw just in that game today how pivotal he was to us.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and I think that's why the Danso injury is so gutting, because I'm 100% sure that Danso would have started ahead of Van de Ven on Sunday. Now with him injured, I think probably he'll go with Romero and Davis or Romero and Gray. It was quite interesting he went for Gray over Davis on this occasion, which was a bit of a surprise to me. I thought with Van de Ven going off, Davis would be called upon, but he went for Gray, which was a bit surprising. But I completely agree, the difference in level of this backline when Van de Ven's able to just sweep up in behind. He's just such a cheat code when they've got that ball in behind and there's a run on between the defender and the attacker. You just know as soon as Van de Ven puts the afterburners on, it's game over. It's over, and that's it. So I thought Van de Ven was so great to have that partnership back. And it was also interesting. He went for, obviously, Spence left back over Udogie, because Udogie hasn't started the last 2. But obviously, it was the right call, because I thought Spence, again, had a great game, had his hand in the third goal as well. I thought he got the kind of lineup absolutely spot on, to be fair, Ange Postecoglou. And I thought we started to see, I don't think it was the perfect performance. I don't think we were at our very, very best. But I think you could see we're getting better. I really believe that. And I think you can see green shoots again of how Ange wants to play. And you can see kind of a lot of positives on the basis of we got the first goal from the pressing through Son. The third goal came from kind of that build-up play, which we know Ange is trying to drill into these players, very fast, very direct, and that kind of got us our third goal as well. I thought Maddison came into his own in that second half. I thought Son was kind of a bit more relentless on this occasion. What was great about Odegaard was obviously it was brilliant to see him kind of dribble past a few players and do all those kind of things, which we know Odegaard can do. But what the big thing is, how effective can he be in the final third? Can he do what Johnson does, which is arriving at the back post at the right time to get those tap-ins, get those goals? And that's exactly what he did. And he took that first goal amazingly well on his left foot. Top corner, brilliant finish. And I think that was obviously made a big difference. Solanke up front, I think he actually had a fairly quiet game for large parts, but I think he kind of, when he was in the game, he made such a difference, and what a difference he made for those 2 assists he got. That first assist, I think a lot of strikers will probably take a shot from that position when they see the goal open up. But he had the presence of mind to just lay it off Odegaard for the goal, and a brilliant flick, and can't be underestimated. Getting that flick on for the third goal as well to get it to Odegaard for the tap in. So
you asked first, go on.
Did he mean it?
Yeah.
He meant to get the flick, whether he meant to get it to Odegaard.
See, Sim
Was
knows.
it a
He
shot?
knows.
Was it a shot or a pass?
I think he was speculating to accumulate. You know what I mean? You know, just get the touch
basically, he was trying to shoot
see
and
where it ends up. You know when you have a player who does
it flicked rightly, perfectly for Odegaard, who was right in the right place at the right time.
You know when you have a player on the side, he does a cross come shot. You know, he kind of gets in the area to see if it either goes in or maybe someone taps it in. I think that's kind of what he was going for.
Not like
I don't know if he meant it perfectly
last weekend.
Yeah, not like Pape Sarr, who most definitely meant it for sure.
Sim, I want to ask you a question, right? You said earlier about like the energy of Spurs and how he wants how that third goal kind of shows how we want to play, right? My question is, do you think that our players can actually perform at that level or even higher every single week in, week out, regardless of who's playing? Because that's
the question.
Yeah.
That's the $1 million question. I mean, obviously we haven't seen it, so I can't sit here and say that we can definitely do it. But I definitely think I think we've seen. I think the big problem is obviously earlier in the season, I think we were doing it fairly consistently, but the big problem was we weren't doing it kind of when we had Thursday, Sunday games. We were doing it when we had like 3 weeks and stuff, but when we had Thursday, Sunday, we were doing it well on the Thursday. Then with that Sunday game, for whatever reason, we dropped in intensity. But when we had like a free week, we seemed to be like playing quite well. And then obviously the injury crisis happened, and we tried to keep playing with this kind of high intensity, high tempo kind of football, and we just weren't able to keep up with it with the level of players we had available to us and the amount they had to play. And that was really hampering us. And obviously we dropped like an absolute stone at that point, and that's why we're 13th in the league. The big thing for me is, to win this competition, do they have to do it every week, or do they just have to do it when we come up on a Thursday against these European oppositions? I think that's kind of the goal from now to the end of the season, is to do it consistent enough in these European games that we see what he's capable of. And then in next season, if we do really well in this Europa League, hopefully if we do as well as we're all hoping and we maybe win it, then you can really build on that, get a squad in place that you can rotate game by game, and you can do it consistently. But at the moment, the jury's definitely out on that. I think at the moment it's hard to say that we can do it because we haven't seen it. And I think definitely when we're doing Thursday to Sunday, we've definitely seen a drop off in intensity. I think it's been very consistent drop off. I think that's definitely fair to say. So I think whether it's he has to rotate more or whether it's just unsustainable to play 2 games a week, I'm not sure, but definitely is a problem when we play Thursday, Sunday, in keeping up that kind of tempo that we try to do. That's undoubtable for sure.
I guess the beauty of being shit all season, being that and the league season completely gone, is that we can really not worry about that kind of situation and just go hell for leather in the Europa League and rest our key players in the midweek games, because you saw, how well it did for Sonny and Maddison today. They didn't start on the weekend, and I think both of them were bang at it today. Another player that didn't start on the weekend was Lucas Bergvall, who I thought was incredible today.
Yeah,
I had Bergvall down as my man of the match today. I thought potentially his best performance in a Spurs shirt today.
Playing in the 6 as well in such an unbelievably important game for us. The responsibility he had on his shoulders to play that role. When we got the likes of Basuma on the bench, who obviously is a more experienced player, him starting in this kind of game when we know our season might have been over if we would have lost. he might have come into this. Other players of his age might have come into this game and been a bit more nervous, but he completely thrived in that position. I'm starting to think now, like after watching that, I'm like, I was doubting whether 6 is his real position long term, but I looked at that and I think maybe could he be our Gravenberg? Could he be a player in that position with high technical ability who's just got unbelievable engine that he does, and he's just got that ability to cover as much ground that he does. And when he gets involved in those duels, he's not scared. He doesn't kind of shirk those duels that he gets involved in. And then when he has the chance to basically take people on, drive into that space. That run he did in that second half when I think he drove past 3 players, just like he knocked it past 3 players and then set Spurs up on attack. I was just in awe of him watching that, and I thought, yes, he made them. I think, look, I haven't watched it back. I'm pretty sure he made the mistake for the goal we conceded.
He hit it into Odegaard and then it played them in. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a shame because it really, if people, it might distract people from more an incredibly dominant performance that was from him. It seemed as though any time the ball went near him, he was the one winning that challenge. He was the one winning the duel. No one was coming out second best. Everyone was coming out second best against him. No one was.
Jules he won today.
Well, there you go. I think that shows it. And I thought as well on the ball, the quality he showed, dribbling past people, the silkiness, the smoothness. It's such a delight to watch in that middle of the park. And I guess right now, I know Bentancur was suspended today, but is he going to be our 6 from now to the end of the season? I mean, it's hard to say. Hard to say he won't be. But obviously, where does that leave Bentancur? Where does it leave Basuma? Those are big questions. But
in the mud,
on the bench.
Yeah, but obviously, Sarr obviously started in the 8 today. Even Gray came into the midfield at one point when Davis obviously came on. But Bergvall on the 6 today was something. I know we've seen him in the 6 in previous games and he's done well. But today was the first time I saw him in that position. I was like, this actually could be his position. Like this actually really suits him.
Sim, at the Bournemouth game, me and Ben were talking. We were saying that we actually think Bergvall probably could be our best number 6, given the current form of the players that we have in the squad available. And based on that today, I mean, obviously, from what I've seen of him, he looks like he's getting progressively better week in, week out. There's always little things you can see starting to see more of the way he's playing his game. I think now he's got to be on number 6 for the rest of the season because he's got the engine, he's got the ability, he's got the way he scans everything, his positional awareness. I just think he's the best out of what we've got right now. So I think that I can't see anyone else. And to be honest with you, if it wasn't going to be him, I'd probably rather see Archie Gray in that position given a try, especially in the Premier League, because we've got nothing to play for, than I would see Basuma or Bentancur because they've been shambolic. And even Sarr, I'd say to a point, has not been good in that role.
And on top of that, 1 second, Sim, but on top of that, Sim, do you remember the debate that we were having with Josh King about Bergvall being a 6? Right, on the panel show, and we were saying, well, I don't know, I can't remember whose opinion was whose, but I said that day, there's no reason why Bergvall can't play the 6, and he played pretty much the lone role in the 6 today, and I think today was your answer.
For sure, obviously. I'm not one to downplay a victory, but it was RZ. He is going to come up against more physical midfielders, that ask him different questions. But today, the amount of ground he covered, the discipline he had, the fact that whenever he went into a duel, he was the one coming out on top, those are real brilliant markers for a player in that position. Now, obviously, the one down mark is he did make that mistake. And when you look at the top number 6s, they don't really make too many mistakes in those positions. So that is obviously something that people will pick up on. But the fact of the matter is he's still 19. He's going to make mistakes. He's going to learn from them, and he absolutely did. What was brilliant is he made that mistake and he didn't let it affect him. He absolutely kept up. He probably even kind of had that feeling about him that he had to make up for it, and he even got better, I thought, after that mistake, to be honest. I thought he was absolutely astonishing. So based on what I saw today, I think I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing him as a 6 more regularly. But he did, I think. The fact of the matter is he probably did only start there because Bentancur was suspended. I don't know if he would have started there if Bentancur wasn't. So if Bentancur was back, does he move Bergvall back to the 8 and Bentancur on the 6, or does he keep Bergvall there? That's a big question because let's be honest, Bergvall has been brilliant in the 8 as well. It's not just the 6 he's been good. So it's not just that he's been good in this position. But I would say I would agree with you, Ben. I do think this was his best performance in a Tottenham shirt, and it was in that position. But obviously, it was a game we were expected to dominate possession. It was a game where we obviously had to take the game to the opposition, and it was a game we were expected to win against opposition, which were, in terms of kind of the bookies and whatever, we were favourites. So in other games, like when we play against Frankfurt or Lazio or whatever, against better teams, is Bergvall going to have that discipline? Is he going to be enough in those kind of games against better opposition to kind of be that lone six like he was today? Because today he was perfect. He was absolutely not just more than good enough. He thrived. I thought he dominated in the middle, and RZ couldn't handle it. When you come up against better opposition who ask different questions, maybe more physical players who pick up different positions, is that going to be too much for him to handle? I guess that remains to be seen. But today, he was absolutely phenomenal, and take nothing away from him today, because he was my man of the match. I thought he was a near, obviously, apart from that mistake, it was a near perfect kind of sixth performance from him. And it was not just a sixth performance, which was he didn't just like get on the pitch and not make mistakes, but he did so many wonderful things. He was so exciting to watch. It's very rare for a defensive midfielder to be as exciting to watch as someone like Bergvall was today. And I think we just got a star in the making on our hands. The level he's reached at such a quick point in time at such a young age is actually astonishing, and people should be taking more note of him. But if people want to, if he goes under the radar, that's all good for us, because it means people are underappreciating and underestimating him. But I think he's an absolute phenomenon. I really think, and today was more evidence of that.
Agreed. Not something that Mr. Box Office will probably want to hear. But last question about the quarterfinal tie against Frankfurt. How do you fancy our chances? Obviously, they absolutely swept aside Ajax. Like, they pretty much weren't there over the two legs. Very hard tie, isn't it?
Sims booked his
very
ticket
hard
to Bilbao, hasn't he, already?
That's me.
Yeah, I've booked the ticket to Bilbao. I'm looking to fight for Frankfurt tonight. Hopefully, I'll have them booked by tonight. But yeah, Frankfurt, difficult tie. They're obviously done very well in this Europa League. I think they finished one place above us in the league, or they did very well in the league, in the league phase. Obviously, you saw the struggle, the kind of struggle we've had against AZ, who are currently 5th or 6th in the Eredivisie. Ajax are currently walking their Eredivisie, or they're top. They're doing very well, and Frankfurt completely blazed past them like they were nothing. So they won 2-1 away, they won 4-1 at home. So that goes to show the difference in level and the increasing level that they're going to have. Obviously, they've lost Mamouche, who was their main player in the first half of the season. So that's obviously a massive benefit to us, but they're still clearly a very good team. They're still a very, very capable team. They've got some very good players there, and it's not going to be an easy tie whatsoever. This is going to be a different level of kind of opposition to what we've just faced. But what I would say is today we just got a little taste of what our team could look like again once Romero and Van de Ven are back fit and playing at their very best. And even today, Van de Ven couldn't even complete 90 minutes because he was still at a stage where we're managing his minutes. Hopefully, by the time the first leg's going to be 3.5 weeks away, 10th of April, by that time, if they're still obviously fit, I'm hoping that they're both at a stage they can both play 90 minutes, and we're at a stage where people like Solanke and Odegaard, people even forget them. Like, they're still kind of getting up to speed with a lot of things. I know Solanke played another 90 minutes again today, and Odegaard even is just recently come back from injury. So I'm hoping by the time we're 10th of April, we'll have a few games behind us. We'll have Sunday, and I don't know how many more games after the international break, which we'll have after Fulham. But I'm hoping we'll be in a much two more games. So I'm hoping we'll be in much better momentum. These players will be much more up to speed, and we'll be in a much better place physically to compete. I always thought today would be a bit of a struggle. I'm delighted we went through. I said before the game that I think the first half kind of showed it. We're still not quite there yet when it comes to being fully physically as intense as we want to be, as sharp as we want to be, as direct as we want to be. And I think we saw glimpses of it in the second half once we grew into the game. But I still think it was just glimpses. It wasn't kind of a whole performance. And I'm hoping the more we play, the more games we play, by the time that Europa League comes again, we'll be in a much better place. That's what I was saying before the game. I feel like if we got through this tie, we will be... I can see us putting in much better performances in the later rounds. Not to say it's going to be easier, because the level goes up, so it's still going to be a massive struggle. But if we can kind of build on today's performance, really take that momentum and keep Romero and Van de Ven fit, and as I said, I said earlier in the season for Europa League, like how we were playing earlier in the season, if we can get to that level where away from home we're either like kind of like drawing or it's a narrow defeat, and then at home we can kind of really take the game to them, then we've got a real chance in this Europa League. I really believe that, and let's see where it takes us. We're still in it, quarterfinals. I know Ange, there's been a lot of pressure on him, a lot of questions about him, but he's made it through today. Obviously, the pressure then goes on to the quarters. If the same question will be about him in the quarters, let's be honest. If we go out in the quarters, the question will be:
if
is he gone
to Frankfurt? Are you Ange out?
That's the thing. That'll be the question. I think if you
it'll be Ange out, Sim in.
will I be Ange out if he loses to Frankfurt? It depends. It depends. If we're looking good in the league and we get unlucky, then maybe not. I think right now we're still not. The reason I was saying I was Ange out if we went out to RZ is because yes, the results have turned a bit in the league in terms of they're improving, but performances are still a bit iffy and they're not quite there yet. And if we go out to RZ and a Eredivisie team that we have to be beating, while performances are like that, then you have to say, I've got no confidence that this guy is leading us in the right direction. Now, if the performances start to turn in a positive manner like tonight in the league, and then if we go to Frankfurt and let's say we go out on penalties, it's unlucky, it's a close game, then I don't know if I'll be necessarily Ange out. But if we're continuing to play poorly in the league and then we go out in the Europa, then maybe I would be. It all depends on the context of the time. The context of the time of today is if we would have lost today, I would have been Ange out because of the context. But if Frankfurt, it just depends. Because it's a month's time. There's a lot of games to be played between now and then. So it just depends.
Just to, one question more from me. So with the current 11, the first 11 that play tonight, do you think that 11 has to stay fit in order for us to have a chance to win this tournament? Because for me, I feel if one player comes out of that team, the whole dynamic changes.
Yeah, I think obviously look at the bench tonight. We do have some good players. What was quite interesting was Tell yet again for the second game in a row didn't get any minutes, which is quite interesting considering he's on a loan deal. So I wonder if something's going on there with Tell. But I don't know if it has to be this team because obviously we've got Kulusevski hopefully coming back after the international break. So hopefully we find a place for him once he's fit and available. But I think it's very crucial for the likes of Maddison, for the likes of Solanke, for the likes of Mickey and Romero. I think those players are all very, very crucial to stay fit. If Oro picks up an injury, you can always play Spence and the Doggy there. If Saar picks up an injury, you've always got Basuma or Bentancur or Bergvall can put in the 8 or Gray even. So I think there are certain players that we can replace them. But I think there are some players that are really crucial. And I think the centre-back partnership is the two of them. Maybe even the keeper probably is considering Kinski's not in the Europa League squad. I think Solanke is an absolute vital must. And I think Son just provides that kind of X factor or that quality in the front line. I know even today, look, I thought he had a good game. I don't think it was like his best game, but I think you just see the difference in the sharpness. You see the difference in how often he's running at players. You see the difference kind of in the first leg where when he gets the ball, he's not even running. He's just passing it back and he's not looking confident. Today, even if it didn't come off all the time, he's always taking him on. He's always looking to run at his defender. And if he runs at his defender, 5 times and gets past him 2 or 3, then he's done his job and gets delivery. And that's what he needs to do. So that was what I liked about Sonny today, even though it wasn't kind of quality-wise his best. But to answer your question, I wouldn't necessarily say the whole 11 has to stay fit, but there are some players like Maddison, Son, and the centre-back partnerships, and maybe even Bergvall you put into that category at this stage. They have to really stay fit if we've got a chance.
All right. Big up, Sim. See you
Big
tomorrow to go through the nitty-gritties all over again and look forward to the
And
weekend.
I'm £20 up on Brains, by the way. £20 up. Let's go.
What was the bet?
Let's go. Well, we have 3 separate bets. One of them was Ange to be in charge for the Southampton game. So I'm already taking that as a win. I'm not being starting before Southampton unless we lose like 10-0 on Sunday, but even then. And the other 2 bets are Spurs to win the Europa or Spurs to finish 8th or higher. So I'm probably going to take the cash as right now as I can because I don't know about the next 2, but I've got 20 quid in the bank.
and just let the viewers know when you made that top 8 bet.
A few weeks ago. When did I make it? After the I think it was after the Ipswich game.
Shameless.
Oh, that is
Absolutely
so
shameless.
shameless.
All right, Sim, thanks for coming on, mate. We'll see you later.
Big up, Sim.
Big up. And let's go to the
week.
last caller of there. I know he's been waiting a while. He was in the car. Now he's back at home. Big up, Ariane. How you doing, Ariane?
Oh, we can't hear
You're on
him.
mute.
Oh, wait.
No, we can hear you now.
It's all good. We hear you now.
Okay, wait. Let me turn my light on. Actually, it took me forever, but I'm pretty happy that Sim actually ended up going on because I was in my car, so I'm happy I got home on time. I did watch the game actually because I only worked for like 2 hours, so I was able to watch the game and then go to work and then come back and talk about it. Right, so
There's
good
no
game, good
work
performance.
when Spurs are on. Come on, Ariane.
Yeah, no,
Ariane
never.
doesn't know what
never.
work is when Spurs are on.
Talk to me about that game, though, because it was much better than what we've seen for a long time, probably since the Liverpool first leg.
Yeah.
Players back, Romero back to match fitness, and it was a lot better today, wasn't it?
I've got 3 words for you. We are back. We are back.
Oh, another shameless one.
We are so
Get off
back,
the sim
baby.
train.
Ange Ball is back. It's here to stay. The Europa League is coming home. Everything. All right, Sim, get me on the bets. Get me on the bets. All right,
Ariane, I heard a little rumor that you were a game away from being Ange out.
No, here's what happened. No. It's live. You can go watch the live stream. What I said, it was when Ange benched Spence for the Ipswich game. I said, well, he's obviously doing it because he's resting them for the Alkmaar game. And they're like, you're making more excuses. Ange is showing favoritism. I said, you know what? If Ange benches Spence for the first leg to Alkmaar, I will say Ange out live on your stream. And I knew he was going to start. It was that simple. And he did. That's what I said. And I backed it. What I've always been saying with Ange is, look, I'm giving him a lot of credit. I'm saying he's a good coach. He's a good tactician. I don't think a lot of the problems are down to him. Not saying nothing's down to him, but I don't think a lot of the problems we've had this season are strictly down to him. And I've said if Ange is what I give him credit for, he'll display these behaviors. He will start the players based on performance. He'll start them based on form, and he's going to put up respectable performance in the Europa League, and he should win it. If Ange is what I've been coming on here and giving him credit for, then these are the things he should do. So if I come over here and I say, hey, I think Ange is this amazing coach, and I think our squad is filled up with players of like Bergvall, like Spence, like Solanke, like Romero, like Van de Ven, who are quality players. If I say all of these things and then I say, oh, but you know what, he's not supposed to beat Frankfurt or Alkmaar in the Europa League, then I'm a massive hypocrite. So I have to come on here and say, also, he's going to win the Europa League. That's the only thing logically. If you go through step by step, it makes sense. So I'm a massive hypocrite if I say, oh, you know what, I don't think he's going to win the Europa League, because then what the hell am I saying? Then I'm saying he's a shit coach and that our squad's shit, right? So that's what he is. That's what he is.
Do you think it heavily relies on like those key, like kind of what Sim was saying? I'll ask you the same question. Like, if those key players are injured, do you think there's less of a chance then of going through, especially with Van de Ven and Romero?
That's for anything, right? That's for anything.
But I mean, of course. But what I'm saying is because we've been so affected with injuries this season, there's a chance that one of them could get injured again. And for me, if one of those, like especially Van de Ven, I think if he gets injured, I think it's done. Like, I think there's no way we're getting through.
Right, but I think we're very conscious of Van de Ven's injury problems, and I think you can see that every time it's just an hour mark, we'll take him off, and we have less games, we have less minutes, we have less reliance on every players playing 90 minutes every 3 days. I think the injury problem, like when the injury crisis was at its worst, I kept coming on here and saying you can put some blame on Ange, but what's most certainly being a larger factor in these players getting injured instead of some bogus like the training is too intense, because I think that's just nonsense. Because I think if someone like Ange who's been in this job for not just Spurs, just in coaching for so long, they understand that you can't just overload players with just constant intensity. I think what was likelier the case was you have one go down, and when it rains it pours, because you have players playing every 3 days 90 minutes, and it just stacks on stacks on stacks. And that's what was causing so many of our injury problems, especially because we have registration problems in the beginning. We didn't have Spence. We couldn't have Reguilon come in and help. A lot of these players who were actually helping ease the minutes in the league couldn't come help ease the minutes in the cup games, and that was causing us a lot of problems. And I think now that we have a lot of the squad back, and then we have
Ange should have picked him
in January. Well, the whole thing with Spence was obviously like Ange saying I made it difficult for him on purpose. You can sit there and say you don't believe him, and I can sit here and say I do believe him. None of us know the truth, right? The point is
whether you think he made it difficult for him on purpose, he's putting the squad under strain for no apparent reason, really.
But even if that would if it was a mistake, it's done, right?
Yeah.
So
no, I agree with that.
So it is what it is, and now we have a lot of help in the squad. Now we've got the 3 players in January. We have less games because we're out of the 2 cup competitions, and I think it's going to be much easier to maintain the squad not injured. The other thing I'll say about that is this proves one thing that's been driving me crazy all season, because when I would say, look, a lot of our problems are down to the injuries, and people were saying, oh, it's an excuse. When I would say Van de Ven and Romero are massive for us, and the fact that they're injured is what's hurting our defense the most, the thing that people would reply that would send my head in orbit would they'd say, well, Archie Gray and Radu Dragusin have been some of our best performers. It can't be them. And it's like, no, they were just really good relative to the rest of the shit. There's still nothing on Romero and Van de Ven. Right?
Yeah.
That is still a massive, like, the drop off in quality is still massive. I hate it when people say, well, Davis has been really good. Yeah. Are you telling me Ben Davis has been really good? I know that. It's not about Ben Davis being good. It's about the fact that we have the incredible quality of our starting team, and you're dropping that quality off, not to mention they're playing every 3 days and they're getting tired. We're not facing those problems as much anymore. We have less games. We have a bigger squad that Ange, I think, whether you could, criticize how he was using the squad in the beginning. He didn't use Bergvall much in the beginning of the season. He didn't use Gray much. He didn't use Spence at all. He didn't really use Autobert until he was injured. So he did have problems integrating these players, but now they're integrated into the team, right? We can see Basuma's not starting every game. That was a massive criticism. Poro's not starting every game. That was a massive criticism. Udogi's not starting every game. Stuff like that. He's rotating a lot more, and I think now that he's doing that, it's going to be much easier for the entire squad to be able to come in and make an impact when needed, and also to help to ease the load on these players so they don't drop like flies. And I think if you do that, and if Ange has the tactical ability that I give him the credit that he does, right? If he does have that, then we should be winning the Europa League.
Ariane, talk to me about Lucas Bergvall, man. He just seems to be
I'm a little
getting
bit
better.
upset with him. Yeah.
He seems
I'm
to
a
be
little bit
getting
upset with
better and better and better every game. In my opinion, regardless of that mistake, that's his best performance in the Spurs shirt.
I think maybe it's because I am a defender that it kind of drives me a little crazy, because it's the same thing that's been happening with Danza, where he's making like an error leading to goal and people are saying he's been so good the rest of the game, and it's not that he hasn't been. I think, look, I'll start with the positives because it's a little. We just won, right?
I don't want to hear the negatives,
everything Sim said about Bergvall was 100% true. Everything he said. I think he's been phenomenal. I think he's grown into this role more than you can believe. I think in the beginning of the season he looked really raw, and a lot of our fans were saying maybe he needs a loan. And now it looks like we've ripped just Barca. He was supposed to go to Barcelona, and imagine him next to Pedri, next to Gavi, next to the other 2 incredible midfielders that they have. Barca, those young Spanish guys. I forgot their name. I think one of them just did his ACL, but they have these very incredible midfield, and Bergvall there would have just not looked even one. Not for a second looked out of place, and I think he's been phenomenal. Just he's got the strength, he's got the technical ability. Like he says, like Sim said, like the fact that he's in that middle and he's so exciting to watch, right? I remember in preseason, my dad would be like, "Is that kid with the golden hair not playing? Then I don't want to watch." That's what my dad would say. He's like, let me know when he gets subbed on. This kid is really exciting, and he's a very good talent, and he's growing into the role so well. And I think his composure is actually kind of what led to him making that unfortunate mistake, because he was just so composed, so relaxed that he's like, all right, let me pass this back, and I trust my team. And then that complete mix-up that caused that, and then it got a little nervy. And it really frustrates me that happened, because I think it's a massive blemish on the game, because when you're in that role, when you are a center back, when you are a goalkeeper, when you are a midfielder playing defensively, like those mistakes, you can't make those mistakes, right? Now, obviously today it didn't end up mattering, but if that game ends 2-1 and we lose on penalties, it's now no one's saying anything positive about Bergvall, even though the same things happened, right? He still played that magnificent game. Right? Nothing changed, but just because the result changed, now we're going to not highlight that. It's the same thing with like refereeing decisions. Like sometimes we have like that. I still think about it, like 5-2 at Southampton forever ago when Doherty got that penalty, and I'm like, this is going to come bite us in the ass, and it did. 1-1 against Newcastle, but just because we won that game, no one said anything about it. Stuff like that. So I don't want to just pretend like it didn't happen, because if we do that, it's just going to bite us in the ass later. But the thing is, he's a very talented kid, and he is going to be. You can see this kid's like just a star in the making. I mean, you can't be that like isn't he younger than me? He's younger than me. So like
19 years of age, my friend.
I'm 19 as well, and I'm about to turn 20 pretty soon. So it's ridiculous that I'm talking about this kid, and he's literally my age or younger. I know Gray's
Bloody
younger
hell!
than me.
So what? Have you been coming on our show since you've been about 16 or something?
Nothing younger. I think.
Wow.
Yeah, I think I was 14 or 15. Anyway.
Wow, that's mad.
Yeah. So look, obviously he's brilliant, and we have a lot of talent in our squad. I think I could sing the praises of pretty much everybody who started today. Odobert, phenomenal. Spence, phenomenal. Solanke, phenomenal. He meant that flick. Don't ask me. You know, Van de Ven, obviously, we just spoke about him.
meant that
I've
flick.
been arguing
No,
that case.
he
Come
did.
on.
He did not mean that
Absolutely.
flick.
I think what Sim
one
said was
bit.
honestly the correct thing. It was one of those where he flicked it, kind of hoping it goes either far post or someone's back there, because that's what you do in that. Like, it's not even like that's just what he does every time. If he scores,
Yeah.
he's still meant to do one of those far post flicks. That, you know. It's one of those where, like, if you've ever been in that position, like the coach always tell you, don't even look up, just fire it in that area. And it's one of those where he didn't give a shit if it hit Odobert or went to the far post. That's what he's trying to go for anyway, because he's also done that with Johnson all the time. He does that flick out very often. So I don't think he cared, and I think he's just aiming for the far post. And if he goes wide, he knows the winger's going to be there to retrieve it. So it's one of those. He meant whatever happened, right? Yeah.
I don't know about that. I need to watch it again, but not from what I saw. The way that
because he's done that, I'm sure it's going to happen again, right? Because if you see Solanke, even when he was at Bournemouth, he does that little back heel, like this little inside flick all the time, because it's just a dangerous area, even if he misses, right? He's not thinking I'm doing this as a pass or I'm doing this as a shot. He's thinking if I miss, the winger's going to be there anyway. That's what's going through his mind, and that because these players make split-second decisions. He's not thinking about a pass or a shot.
Ariane, let me ask you this. Me and Danny was saying before the game and even during the game, this looks like our strongest 11 now that we have available. Kulusevski will be back for the Frankfurt game. Who comes out for Kulusevski?
Oof, that's a tough one. Maybe Sar.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I think Sar might have to come out because not that I don't think necessarily Sar's like dropped off because I think he has less of a role in the games. And I think when we first started under Ange, the first 10 games where Bissouma and Sar were running the show, him and Bissouma had the role of just enforcer, and I think that has basically been doubled up into Bergvall now. And Sar has basically less of a prominent role. There's not much that he needs to do. What he offers is valuable, but him and Bergvall together it's redundant, right? I think that's what ends up happening because they're kind of taking up each other's space. And he's not as technically good as Bergvall is. So I think you bring in Kulusevski, who has a similar amount of energy, but also much more creativity, much more technical ability. I think a midfield of and we've seen it once, I think, where we had Bergvall, Madison, and Kulusevski. I think it's definitely been a thing when he subbed on Madison or subbed on Bergvall. Maybe we've never started that way, but that's definitely going to be like our most creative 11. Maybe you even take Madison off. I'm sure it's just going to be a case by case thing depending on who we're going up against. Because as much as people don't want to admit it, Ange isn't a one-dimensional whatever, right? Like he has made it. Like I think it's a bit ridiculous that people do say that because it's not like we play the same exact 11, the same exact thing every single game. There's not every game looks the same, and if you think that it does, you're not looking at all. You're not watching. It's the same style, but as everybody says, right? Everybody on here, when I talk about Ange, says just because being pragmatic doesn't mean negative. It doesn't mean change the whole style up. And then Ange does do a little tweak, which is just what they're talking about, and it's still not enough. They want a massive style change. We're not here to debate about Ange. Point is, I think it's going to be a case-by-case thing, but I think for most games, or for games like this where we really need to be on the front foot, when we're 1-0 down, we need a goal massively. I think you bring on just the creative, like big guns, right? I mean, that midfield three, and especially if our front three would be on form, especially if Son would play more like he did in the second half, where he is linking up with Spence, and Odobert playing like he did today with Solanke, just being Solanke as he has been all season. I think that's going to be just like unstoppable. I mean, we've been pretty unstoppable in front of goal all season. It's just so of the opposition. But yeah, I think for sure that's going to be a massive trouble for any team that goes up against us, because I don't know how you defend that. I don't know.
Well, Ariane, always a pleasure to speak to you, my friend. Thank you for coming.
And as always, come on, you Spurs!
Come on, I've missed that
Big
come on, you
up,
Spurs from Ariane. But that brings an end to the fan show. Nearly midnight here in London.
What a show.
I want to say thank you to all the callers. Thank you for all the viewers. We've got a super chat here from LazenB24. No comment. Super sticker with 1 and a heart. So thank you very much for that. big up for Danny Kiriakou for doing the long haul with me today. It's so
Thanks
good
for
to
having
have
me,
you back
man.
in the
Yeah,
studio.
it's really good to be back, man. It's been a really enjoyable night as well, watching a bit better football and through to the next round. Can't complain.
We're going to have to get you back in here before you make your trip back to Amsterdam.
Yeah, definitely.
That's for sure.
Definitely.
But big up to everyone. We'll see you all very soon. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.